Chris, and welcome everybody to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta, home to the defending ACC champion Georgia Tech. And today the Yellow Jackets welcome an undefeated squad to town, North Carolina State, for a key early season conference matchup. With Bob Greasy and Chris Spielman, I'm Dave Pash. Georgia Tech won the toss and deferred, so it'll be Scott Blair kicking off to TJ Graham, who had 2 returns for touchdowns on kickoffs a year ago. He'll field it at the 9. Graham trying to get outside, knocked down short of the 20 at the 16-yard line by Corey Earls. Last year, Russell Wilson led the ACC in touchdown passes with 31. He has 8 this year without an interception. Last week against Cincinnati, threw for over 330 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just to give you an idea of the difference with these offenses, Wilson last week threw 40 passes. Georgia Tech threw 4. On first down, a pass out into the flat, and Williams dragged down at the 19-yard line by Mario Edwards.
One thing about Russell Wilson, he's about 5'9", 5'10". They list him at 5'11", but the thing that I like in Greece, I know you like, we saw him in warm-ups, is he has that real quick release in those long arms and great vision, something he and Dana Bible have been working on since his coming back to practice, leaving the baseball team and coming back to the football team.
And Wilson moving out of the pocket. And that pass nearly intercepted on the redirection. Williams couldn't hang on, and then Dominique Reese had a chance for Georgia Tech, 3rd and long.
Talking about Russell Wilson, he's a 2-sport star. He plays baseball. He plays for he's a professional with the Colorado Rockies. The thing I like about him, Chris, and I know you do too, is the fact he doesn't turn the ball over. He came into the game today with 131 passes without an interception, and early in his career, he went something like 379.
Yeah, which was an NCAA record.
Well, yeah, and he just doesn't turn the ball over.
Wilson on 3rd down has his running back Haynes, who's loose in the middle of the field. And into Georgia Tech territory at the 48.
That's the thing that I love about this kid. He just makes plays. He didn't have to plant, set his feet. The ball was ready to go. Watch the protection. He's going to step up in the pocket, just a little flip of the wrist, and I think that helps from baseball, the little flip. He's a second baseman, and you know, I like, the only thing, if this kid were 4 inches taller, he'd be on the #1 list on everybody.
He can sling it now. Flushed out again. He can also run. Wilson looking for the first down, gets a block, stepped out right at the marker at the 38. Here are the guys that Wilson will throw to. You already saw Dean Haynes out of the backfield. Gentry, he likes to go to him. Williams, Spencer, and all-ACC tight end George Bryant. And up front, 2 Georgia natives, Wentz and Allen, and 4 sophomores, including R.J. Mattis, who is back in the starting lineup, tore his ACL a year ago late in the season. He's a key guy up front for the Wolfpack. On 2nd and short, getting the first down on the ground is Haynes. Georgia Tech under first-year defensive coordinator Al Groh runs a 3-4, which Groh ran at Virginia and also in the NFL. Cross, Walls, and Peters up front. And the 4 backers led by Steven Sylvester. And in the secondary, they got a true freshman, Isaiah Johnson, who's an excellent-looking safety. Mario Butler and Dominique Reese, a pair of seniors at corner.
Like with North Carolina State, no huddle. That's controlling the substitution.
Wilson drilled, and the ball out at the 40-yard line. And recovered by Georgia Tech. Brad Jefferson forced the fumble, recovered by Logan Walls.
Al Groh was talking yesterday about some voodoo defense, something that Russell Wilson hadn't seen, and this is part of it. Blitzing, putting some pressure on him from the outside.
See Jefferson coming from the inside. That's what they call a Sam and Mike zone fire. Nobody slides off to pick Jefferson. And what I like is he has the wherewithal to bring that right arm, swing it across the arm to cause the fumble, as opposed to just going for the knockout shot.
Only the third turnover by NC State. Now Georgia Tech running on first down. Nowhere to go for Roddy Jones. Brought down by Jeff Rieskamp. Joshua Nesbitt, first team All-ACC quarterback a year ago, rushed for over 1,000 yards. And he's on pace to do that again. He's thrown only 25 passes this year. Ran for over 100 yards in a win at North Carolina last week. Here's the up man, Allen, and only a couple of yards. Dropped by Nate Irving, so NC State looks good on the first two plays against that option offense of Georgia Tech. Anthony Allen, a senior from Tampa, transfer from Louisville. Jones and Orwin Smith, the other running backs, Kevin Cone and Stephen Hill. Mostly we'll see them blocking rather than catching passes. Austin Barrett starting along with two sophomores, Uzi and Smith, and a freshman at left guard, and Will Jackson. Sean Bedford, a former walk-on, as a first-team All-ACC center. And a rare throw by Nesbitt, and it was tipped by linebacker Audie Cole. And a fourth down for Georgia Tech.
That's what NC State wants to do. Get them in third down and long situations. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 is a long situation for Georgia Tech.
Because if you get Georgia Tech in 4th and 3 or 4, they're probably going to go for it, right? Based on their history.
Yeah, he's not shy about going for it, and he trusts his offense and trusts the triple option so much, although we did not see one option play that series.
That's why first down defense so important for Georgia Tech opponents. That kick settles at the 21. Tom O'Brien coaching against Georgia Tech for the first time since he joined NC State. No score early in the first.
Welcome back to college football on ESPN, presented by Cars.com.
Back in Atlanta, North Carolina State, one of 2 unbeaten teams remaining in the ACC at 3-0. Georgia Tech 2-1. But has won 7 straight ACC regular season games, including a win at North Carolina last week. Wilson sacked back at the 15-yard line by Ijon Cross. The second time the Yellow Jackets already have been able to get to Russell Wilson.
See number 94 Cross come in, work an outside move, then work inside. 2 guys coming off the outside, and the offensive tackle Mattis does not know who to pick up. And when you have 2 guys coming from the outside, it's always best to take the inside rusher first, because obviously the outside guy has a longer distance to go.
And that wasn't voodoo defense. That was just a poor assignment.
Inside run play to true freshman running back Mustafa Green, who picks up about 9 to the 30. Another true frosh, Isaiah Johnson, on the stop. Green last week against Cincinnati had 84 rushing yards and a touchdown, and had 5 catches for 54 yards.
I've been impressed with this kid. He's a true freshman. He scored a touchdown in each of the first 3 games, and this was a weakness coming into the year for NC State, and that was running backs. They've got a redshirt freshman who was a defensive back last year, is the only other guy that's getting a lot of the playing time.
Said gain of 9 was a gain of 13 because of the sack on first down. Wilson on 3rd down and 1, dropped short of the marker by Anthony Ibunaway, a senior outside linebacker, moving from defensive end in the 4-3 to outside backer in the 3-4. And a situation here for NC State. What to do? Tom O'Brien's going to punt it away on 4th down and inches. Hey, we saw Georgia go for it down here on 4th down last week. And Georgia Tech might do that at some point during the game, but Tom O'Brien says too early in the game to take a chance. Gerard Tarrant, an excellent punt returner, had a couple of scores on returns a year ago. Back to receive the kick from Andy Leffler. Tarrant will take it on a hop and drag down back at the 30. Excellent punt coverage by North Carolina State. No score. Georgia Tech's offense back on the field when we return to Atlanta.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com, where confidence comes standard, and in part by Acura. The most innovative thinking you'll find it in Acura.
Centennial Park, home of the 1996 Olympic Games. Kerry Strug won the U.S. women's gymnastics gold, and also Michael Johnson here in Atlanta won the 200 and 400 meter. Georgia Tech taking over on offense. First man through is Allen, banging forward at 230 pounds, close to the first down before Terrell Manning makes the stop.
Well, Georgia Tech will come at you with three types of option. One is the read option, which you just saw right there. Well, they'll hand it to the fullback or pull it out of the fullback. The other is the counter option, where they'll get a puller coming, and we'll see that in a little while. And also something called the speed option, where there's no fake. Three different types of offense for that coach, Paul Johnson.
Nesbitt going to keep on the option and has the first down to the 42. Paul Johnson in his third year, ACC Coach of the Year, his first 2 years at Georgia Tech. They won 11 games last year and made it to a BCS Bowl for the first time in school history.
And make no mistake, this is the guy that makes this spread option offense work. Doesn't have a note, doesn't have a play card. He's got it all in his head. He's been doing this for 25 years, and people ask him, well, an extra week to play, an extra week to prepare for you. He says they've been doing it for 25 years. We can't stop it.
Sean Bedford shaking up the starting center for Georgia Tech. Guys, it was amazing listening to Paul Johnson yesterday and just how well he knows his offense. And the fact that while they're on offense, he's not talking to any coaches upstairs. He talks to maybe some players to ask what went on wrong on the field, but how unusual is that, guys?
Well, he knows his guys upstairs, and he might have his guys upstairs look at certain coverages, or if they're bringing a safety down. But he's looking at the fronts, and he's telling his players how to read the fronts, and he gets a lot of his information from the players. I go, Coach, why do you do that? He says, because they're out there playing. They know what they're blocking, and they know what they're seeing.
And I used to always ask the players too, and I asked Paul because I said, there's always players you can trust and some that you can't believe, because everybody says, I said the receiver, can you get open on this? Yeah, I can get open. Just throw it to me. Well, there's certain things that certain guys he believes and certain guys he doesn't go to.
Freshman Ray Benno is in at center. Jay Finch, the normal backup, is hurt as Nesbitt has to fall on the ball.
And they fumble the first snap. You're right. This is the number 3 guy.
Let's check in with Reese Davis now in the studio.
Nick, Taco Bell studio update. Don Treadwell coaching Michigan State after Mark D'Antonio recovers from that mild heart attack. Certainly our best to him. Northern Colorado against the Spartans. Edwin Baker goes in. Sparty's on top 7-0 on the heels of that victory against Notre Dame last week.
Reese obviously coaches around the country, pausing after what happened to Mark D'Antonio. A little bit later, we're getting into some of our conversations with the NC State coaches about that situation as Nesbitt takes off into the secondary. And the ball stripped at the last minute, not out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Earl Wolf knocked it out, but it stays Georgia Tech ball.
This is the counter option that we were talking about, where they're going to fake it one way. You're going to see an offensive lineman, the offensive guard, pulling from the other side of the ball. That's Will Jackson to seal. Nesbitt gets a great read on it. You see Jackson come in. He'll seal. Nesbitt gets a great read. He sees the big hole. Pitch is out of the question, and he's off and running. But that's one of the 3 types of options you'll see, and their offensive linemen are smaller and athletic, so they can pull and get on the edges.
Ball marked back at the 33 because it was fumbled forward out of bounds. That was a 25-yard run by Nesbitt. Allen straight ahead, gets about 1. And ball came out, but they rule forward progress stop. Allen is the new B-back, which is the fullback essentially in this offense. He's replacing Jonathan Dwyer, who left a year early after rushing for almost 1,400 yards. Wasn't drafted until the 6th round by the Steelers. Remember, they also lost Demarius Thomas. We talk about the fact Georgia Tech doesn't throw the ball a lot. They had a receiver who was drafted in the 1st round by the Broncos.
And those were the 2 key players. They both were juniors, and both could have come back this year.
The pitch to Embry Peoples. And a good tackle along the sideline by Irving at about the 27. This week on ABC's Saturday Night Football, Boise State with a big one on the blue turf, taking on Oregon State, presented by Southwest Airlines. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. What do you think?
Well, Mike Riley painted the Oregon State practice field blue, so we'll see if that was a big help or a big waste of money. It's going to be one of the two.
You think Boise State wins that game handily?
Not handily. I think it'll be a good ball game.
I'm a Boise State believer. I've drank the Kool-Aid. I'm on their bandwagon.
Eastern Washington has that red field. You saw that on game day as Allen fumbles the ball in North Carolina State's Terrell Manning recovers it. We saw a fumbled pitch last week in the win at North Carolina. And that happens when the ball's in the air as often as it is with Georgia Tech.
And don't forget now, Allen's not used to handling the pitches. You'll see right here, he usually gets a handoff. Now, that was a poor pitch, but one that certainly should have been handled.
You're right. You're right. Roddy Jones is usually the guy that gets us the A-back. This is the B-back or the fullback. One thing about Anthony Allen, he has no pass receptions this year in 3 games. Does not have good hands. Usually it is put in his belly and not pitched to him.
Although Georgia Tech as a team only has 10 completions on the year. Each team with a giveaway. North Carolina State keeps it on the ground, and look at Sylvester coming from behind to drag down Dean Haynes for a loss on the play.
One thing is clear about Al Groh and the Georgia Tech defense. They are not going to sit back. He's bringing pressure, and that's the advantage of the 3-4 defense. When you have 4 linebackers and 4 people standing up, it makes it very difficult for an offense to determine who's coming because you're adding an extra pass dropper or an extra pass rusher. When you have a 4-man front, you know those guys are generally coming. So you can't get your blocking assignments down, and they've been screwed up in their pass protection the first 2 series.
Low snap to Wilson. Pressure coming. Wilson forced out again. And a good catch and a high throw by Jarvis Williams as we check in with Reese.
All right, Dave. Michigan taking on Bowling Green, and the nation's leading rusher is Denard Robinson on 3rd and 1. Quarterback will keep it himself. Left didn't work out so well. Right did. Actually, they both worked out fine. He had over 80 yards in his first 4 carries. He's hit all 4 of his passes. Wolverines are rolling 14-0.
Is he the most exciting player in college football?
So far, early in the season, he is.
As far as explosiveness, him and Michael James out of Oregon, the most explosive players I've seen.
Wilson on 3rd and 2. Zips one in there for a first down. T.J. Graham into Georgia Tech territory to the 46.
More pressure defensively, Chris. It seems as though Al Groh and John Tenuta are coming after this NC State offense, and Russell Wilson putting pressure on him.
Well, they're playing a zone pressure, and you have Sweeting, number 6, playing 3 deep. That's an easy pitch and catch because he's getting out of there. You just run down the chains and play pitch and catch with your baseball player / quarterback.
They fake the throw and the handoff to Haynes, and he gets to the 41-yard line for about 5. Big T.J. Barnes at 6 feet 7 inches tall makes the stop.
Now, what you have to do defensively, anytime you're 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3, if you want to bring pressure, then you got to trust your guys to play man-to-man. Again, I like what Dana Bible is doing, going with the no-huddle offense to get the personnel matchups that you want, and you dictate to Georgia Tech what you want to do.
Wilson, beautiful touch pass, even better catch by All-ACC tight end George Bryan to the 20-yard line for a 21-yard gain. 11th catch of the year for Bryan. He had 40 a year ago.
It's just a great throw here. Tight end's just going to go straight up the field. Got a little blitz from the outside. Watch this throw. That is so good. It's so difficult to lay that ball in there.
Out on the flat, it goes to Steve Howard. Gets a block downfield and run out of play inside the 13-yard line. Gain of 6. Check out the grab by tight end George Bryan with reaching out here with one hand to pull it in.
Well, the thing about that allows him to make that catch is that the ball was thrown softly enough, got there quickly, but softly enough where he could just grab it with that big mitt.
Haynes on 2nd and short, trying to be patient off that right side. And maybe didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Anthony Boonaway on the stop, so 3rd down coming up.
You know, we're speaking with Al Groh down on the field before the game, and one thing North Carolina State does well, and you don't see this a lot in college football, is they vertical throw the football. That means they'll take their shots down the field deep. A lot of teams will do that short possession passing game. North Carolina State will set you up with a short possession passing game, and bam, they're throwing that ball down the field.
Wilson. Jump ball and incomplete. Off the hands of 6 feet 4-inch wide receiver Darrell Davis with Isaiah Johnson covering. Field goal unit comes on for NC State.
I love a quarterback that's not afraid to throw a guy open, Grease.
Well, and he knows that his receivers are going to protect him. They're going to go up and fight for the ball.
He should have fought for it and should have caught that one. He had the 4-inch height advantage over Isaiah Johnson, the true freshman safety.
31-yard field goal try by Josh Chikowski. All of his tries this year have been short, so he's got some practice. But he missed it. Not even close. Way right. No score late in the first here in Atlanta. Welcome back to the beautiful city of Atlanta. It is a hot and humid Saturday in late September. Temperature expected to get into the low 90s.
And not a lot of breeze, partner.
Unfortunately for us. Nesbitt faking the pitch and losing a yard or two. Is he hesitant and all there to pitch it to Allen after Allen dropped the pitch?
Exactly. They came back with the same counter option. And again, the counter option is when a backside lineman's coming across, he's not even looking to pitch. First of all, it's well defended by North Carolina State as you have a man in his face forcing him to miss the tackle. But how are you defending option? The best way to defend it, guys, pursuit. Don't get knocked down and get knocked on your feet.
Here's Allen, hit at the point of attack and only a couple yards. J.R. Sweezy made the stop for NC State. Our Saturday menu brought to you by Applebee's. Big one at Arkansas with Bama coming to town tonight on ESPN. South Carolina, Auburn. Excellent matchup there. We talked about Boise State, Oregon State. A lot of people think West Virginia can win at LSU on ESPN2 at 9 Eastern tonight.
LSU has not had a lot of offense so far this year.
West Virginia looks like about the only team in the Big East that can beat anybody good. Nesbitt to throw a rare straight drop back, and Nesbitt's got a man off the fingertips of Orwin Smith, but that pass led him out of bounds on the near side. 4th and 9.
That's why they're ranked number 119th in the nation, second to last in passing. They're also ranked number 3 in rushing.
Well, if they're going to throw it, Paul Johnson said, and they got to start doing it because North Carolina State's bringing people. You got to institute the pass off the option look, and we'll see that next series.
That's the second pass attempt by Nesbitt after throwing just 4 passes last week. Put up 31 points despite 4 passes. NC State blocks the punt. It's loose at the 2 and picked up for a touchdown.
I was just going to say neither one of these punting units is very good.
Jarvis Williams, after the blocked punt by Asa Watson, scoops it up and takes it in.
Right up the middle. That wall was not very secure that was in front of the punter.
The problem wasn't the wall. The wall was the problem, but also your front line. You have these giant spaces. Why teams do that, I still have no idea. And there's nothing stopping the penetration and the full speed of that line coming.
Point after is good. Well, Sean Poole was the punter the first time Georgia Tech kicked it away. That time it was Chandler Anderson. And Asa Watson, the younger brother of NFL tight end Ben Watson, with the big block.
Kicking off for Wolfpack, number 36.
Georgia Tech having a blocked punt for the first time in 14 years. Asa Watson blocks it. Jarvis Williams scoops it up and falls into the end zone for the first points of the game.
Next time they punt, Dave, I'd come after again to see if they have it fixed.
DJ Bostic, a deep man for Georgia Tech. It'll come out to the 20. Here's Reese.
They want to show you what's going on in the family of networks. Upper part of the screen, keep her finger on the pulse. Denard Robinson against Bowling Green on ESPN2. They're checking out his leg after that run right there. Devin Gardner is warming up on the sideline. As soon as we find out something about the nation's leading rusher, we'll let you know. North Carolina State has a 7-0 lead. That's our game. And then Florida International, who pushed A&M to the fourth quarter last week, is on top of Maryland on the U.
Maurice, we talked about the Big East struggling against AQ or non-AQ or AQ conferences. ACC has as well, save NC State with its win against Cincinnati, as Nesbitt is dropped for a loss by Nate Irvin. 1-yard setback.
Look at the splits right here. Now, when you're able to line two guys up in those gaps, then rush the punter full speed, what happens is you have 6-on-3 in that wall, and guess what? I don't care how strong you are, 3's not going to keep 6 out of there.
And you say, why do they do that?
I don't know.
They do it. They split them out so they can get good releases by those offensive linemen getting downfield to cover the punt.
Here's Allen on 2nd and 11. Again, not much on the ground, maybe a couple. Brian Slay on the stop. How about Mike Archer's defense and how they're playing this option?
Well, his defense has been out there. This is the 4th series. The first 3 series, Georgia Tech has had a punt, a fumble, and a blocked kick for a touchdown.
Their offensive linemen are not getting to the second level, cutting off any pursuit, which is how the Wolfpack are able to basically hunt like a pack of wolves.
It's got to help that John Tenuta is the linebackers coach. He was at Notre Dame and coached against Navy the last couple of years, which runs the same offense. As Nesbitt throws downfield and off the mark. It was intended for Stephen Hill. Again, Nesbitt forced to throw on 3rd and long. He's 0 for 3 passing.
That's why they have to go on the offense. For Georgia Tech, you have to start going a little bit of play action just to loosen those guys up and let them know that we can throw the ball on 1st and 2nd down. 3rd down throwing, they're going to be 20%. Not come after this punt again.
Well, they bring Sean Poole back into the game. Anderson punted last time. I don't know if you can blame him, though, for the block punt.
Look at the big split right here. You can see it right there in that area.
This time they set up the return. Graham waiting for it from the 35-yard line. Runs into his own man. And pushed out of bounds at the 39. Guys, last year, it seemed like whenever Georgia Tech played a game, we didn't see any mistakes by the Yellow Jackets, but they got a turnover already and a block punt for a touchdown.
Till they got into the Orange Bowl when Iowa got a hold of them. And maybe they thought, well, everybody's going to look at the Iowa game to see how Iowa stopped them, but they just beat them up front physically.
Well, the one thing you have to do is you have to get to the second level on the option, second level of the defense. If you don't get to the second level of the defense, the pursuit is going to kill you. That's how you play option football. Paul Johnson says he has an answer for everything, but he doesn't have an answer for lack of execution.
There's Mustafa Green. Gets about 2 to the 41-yard line. Ben Anderson on the stop. Now Georgia Tech has won 7 straight ACC regular season games. Their last home loss in the conference was against Virginia back in October of 2008. But after 1 quarter of play, Georgia Tech trails NC State on a block punt for a touchdown. A grand total of 144 yards combined on offense. The only score on special teams, a block punt recovered for a touchdown for NC State. Russell Wilson on 2nd and 8, looking downfield, has a wide open man down the sideline. Darrell Davis to the 36 of Georgia Tech.
I really like this quarterback. He's not the tallest. He has to look around the offensive and defensive linemen. Watch as he bounces in the pocket, and then throws it in between the safety and the corner down the sideline.
Well, from a stature standpoint, he looks a lot like Seneca Wallace, former Iowa State quarterback, now starting with the Cleveland Browns. A throw on the money again to Owen Spencer inside the 25, gain of about 13.
And the reason he's bouncing is that he's gaining 3 or 4 inches to look over and around some of the offensive and defensive linemen.
Yeah, a lot of that's natural, but believe me, we were watching in warm-ups. A lot of that is practiced footwork that they do, and it's attention to detail. The other thing is the Wolfpack offensive line have gotten their protection problems straightened out.
5'11" starting quarterback for NC State, throwing it again. Out of the backfield is Green. He stepped out at the 21, got only a couple. No, Wilson, guys, you mentioned it, Bobby, played professional baseball, so he wasn't even around during the spring, not during the summer. Takes almost a full year off from playing football, and he comes back, and Dana Bible, the offensive coordinator, says he's better than he was last year.
He's the smallest guy out there, obviously, but the offensive line, but the running backs, everybody.
Run play on 2nd and 8. And Green gets to about the 18-yard line. 3rd down coming up. Brad Jefferson made the stop for Georgia Tech.
And you know, being away from football like he was, he didn't go into off-season conditioning. He didn't go into spring practice. He wasn't around for the summer conditioning program. If you're a veteran quarterback or a veteran player, you can be away and get away with it.
Sounds like Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Pump fake. Wilson. Incomplete. Sport down. We talked about Russell Wilson playing baseball. It was in Washington State for the Tri-City Dust Devils. It's a single-A baseball. Hit .230. He's a utility infielder. Also had a couple of home runs and had 4 triples. Picked in the 4th round by Colorado. But he, according to people around the NC State program, wants to make it in the NFL. His late father, Harrison, was a good college football player and was the last cut by the San Diego Chargers. I wanted to see his son make it to play pro football. 36-yard field goal by Tchaikovsky to try to make it 10-0. And he puts it through. 10-0. North Carolina State on the road against Paul Johnson's Yellow Jackets. Celebrating its 6th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, All-State makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, All-State has contributed more than $2.2 million in scholarship monies.
Anxious to see the adjustments that the Georgia Tech offense brings. Been shut out in the first quarter, and again, I'm looking for that play action. I think you have to do it.
Georgia Tech with only 40 rushing yards. As Tchaikovsky kicks off, and McCahan from the 20 and out to the 35. Let's check in with Reese.
All right, guys, game in the ACC, another one. Boston College and Virginia Tech. BC on the move, and Dave Shinsky is picked off in the end zone. It's been a problem for Shinsky, the former minor league baseball player. His 3rd pick. Jaron Hosley getting that one. And when the quarter changed, the Hokies turned it into a touchdown. Darren Evans going in. Virginia Tech up 7-0 early in the 2nd quarter.
Boy, Reese, that'd be big for the Hokies. Beat East Carolina last week, but they were down in that game and then obviously started 0-2, losing to Boise State and James Madison. From the Georgia Tech 36, Allen straight ahead. It's about 4, brought down by Sterling Lucas. Georgia Tech so far has put the ball in the air 5 times. That includes 3 pass plays and 2 laterals on the option. And one of those was dropped by Allen and recovered by NC State.
The problem with their offense, Paul Johnson is not used to coming up with not much on 1st down. There he got 5 yards on that play. But winning on 1st down in this offense is critical.
Here's Allen again. Breaking tackles out near the 1st down marker. Looks like he has it. They've been faced with a 3rd down situation 4 times today. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7 twice, and 3rd and 9.
Well, if you can pound that fullback, what that will do is slow down the middle linebacker's pursuit. And Allen's going to take the ball. His job is to clamp down on the football once he reaches the front thigh of the quarterback. That's when he knows to take it. And it's Nesbitt's job to pull it out.
Third straight play that Allen will get it, and gets about 4 into NC State territory. Jeff Rieskamp there for NC State.
Let me explain what I'm talking about. As Allen comes in, once he reaches that front thigh, then his hands clamp the football. It's Nesbitt's job to make that decision before Allen gets to his front thigh. Take a look right here. He's at the front thigh. He's holding. As soon as he hits it, he knows, and it works. Takes a lot of practice and a lot of timing to clamp down and clamp down hard.
Here's Allen again, gets a couple. What's interesting is that Allen and all the B-backs, the fullbacks, are in the same meeting room as the quarterbacks. The position coach works with the fullbacks and the quarterbacks, and there's a separate position coach for the, quote, running backs.
It's like he's not a running back. It's the A-backs are the kind of the halfbacks, and the B-back or the fullback is more with the quarterbacks because of the timing and the knowing when he's going to take the ball or he's going to give it to me.
This is their best third down situation. On 3rd and 4, the ball comes out. Allen lost it again.
Well, they probably didn't meet long enough this week, because that was an exchange between the quarterback and the fullback. And
right now, NC State comes up with another takeaway.
Do a nice job of penetrating inside. Slanting defensive lineman. I think it's David Akini who gets in there and gets a hand. I thought I saw a big karate chop from above come down to knock that ball out.
He had the fumble recovery as well.
One of the big changes this year for NC State, they came into the game ranked 6th in the nation in turnover margin with a +5. Last year, they were like 114th in the nation. Right there, the exchange.
Recovered by Akini. NC State with its second fumble recovery and a blocked punt to boot.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Toyota and Applebee's. See what's new on Applebee's 2 for $20 menu. Classics you love and new flavors you'll crave.
Georgia Tech has produced some great golfers like Masters champ Larry Mize, British Open champs Sink and Duval, and you saw Matt Kuchar there. Kuchar and Sink both on the U.S. Ryder Cup team. You can see that on ESPN next weekend. From the NC State 46 after a turnover, Wilson dumps it off to his fullback Gentry. Into Georgia Tech territory to the 46 for about 8 yards. Brandon Watts pushed him out.
Probably the easiest throw of the day for Russell Wilson. Little pitch out to his fullback and to a little bit low. And Gentry could have picked up a lot more yardage if he'd given it to him clean.
2nd down and 2.
Wilson 10 of 13 passing so far for 129 yards. Run play, big hole, Haynes into the secondary. And inside the 30, picked up about 17 before Mario Edwards brings him down.
Anytime you have a hole like that, it's one or two things. Watch your combination blocks on a 3-4. If you handle that nose guard one-on-one, you're going to have a big play. Take a look. The nose takes himself out of the play, allowing the center to get to the backside linebacker. There's nobody in that front side gap to the left of the center. It's off to the races.
You hated that, didn't you?
Oh, I hated that.
Here's Haynes again, another big hole. Gets about 9 to the 20 as we check in with Reese.
Rave SportsCenter right now brought to you by Discover Denard Robinson in Michigan on top of Bowling Green, 21-0. Robinson 128 yards rushing on 5 carries. He left the game with a knee, but injury is not serious. Wanted to go back into the game. Rich Rodriguez up to this point said, I don't think so, with a big comfortable lead. That's SportsCenter right now.
Well, that's good news, Reese, to hear it's not serious for one of the most exciting players in the country. There's Haynes again, breaking a tackle and plowing apparently across the marker to get the first down. Haynes from Georgia, and they spot it right at the 19. Haynes was actually a safety last year. He redshirted, and then he was moved to running back 2 weeks prior to North Carolina State's first game this year. And even though he fumbled a couple times in a win against Cincinnati a week ago, he's been pretty good.
Well, it helps with the emergence of Mustafa Green, the true freshman. See, they get the first down. There's nothing that makes a player better than competition, because you're going to find out about that player. Either he's going to raise his game or he's going to fold to the competition. I'm telling you, Mustafa Green's a kid that everybody's impressed with, from Georgia Tech to all the staff on the NC State Wolfpack coaching staff.
Two undefeated SEC rivals match up on ESPN tonight for college football primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. South Carolina taking on Auburn. Should be a great matchup tonight, as Wilson looks to throw on first down. Has all day. Everybody covered. And Wilson going to take off to about the 14.
Well, he's a good runner, but he's not a great runner.
No, and this is all he needs to do. Buy yourself some extra time. He looked at the two receivers over here to the right side. They were covered. He went back to the other way, looked to the other side, says, I'm just going to run this. The thing that he doesn't do, and we've talked about a little bit earlier, he doesn't throw the ball up for grabs and turn it over.
What happens to Georgia Tech if they get down 17-0? Their offense isn't built for comebacks. Wilson flushed out and throws it away. Third down and 4.
The composure that he has, and something Al Groh was concerned with, is his ability to move around in the pocket. He's got great feet, not a great downfield runner like we talked about, but he keeps his eyes downfield all the time, and the play will always stay alive, which means it makes more pressure on the defensive back and the linebackers to match up with their guys in their area.
And he's only completing 56% of his passes. You know, he's not like one of these 70% guys. Well, that's the reason, because he's not afraid to throw the ball away to avoid a sack and avoid an interception.
Wilson this time in trouble. Forced out of the pocket and a flag down. Wilson to the end zone, threw it away. See what the penalty marker is.
I think we're going to get North Carolina State for holding.
Yep, Brad Allen, our referee. First penalty flag of the game.
Holding. Offense, number 79. That penalty is declined. Foot down.
That will force North Carolina State to kick it. Remember, they missed a short field goal. Also made a short one earlier in the quarter.
See, Mattis, number 79, has his shoulders turned a little bit too much. He's on the backside of the pass rusher. And you know what? Hold the guy. Don't let him kill your quarterback. Go ahead and hold him. Maybe they'll miss it.
That was Jeremiah Atachu, a guy that Al Groh's very high on, who drew the holding penalty. Young defensive end for Georgia Tech. 31-yard attempt. Tchaikovsky missed a 31-yarder in the first quarter. And he's 1 for 3. He's missed 2 31-yard attempts and made a 35-yarder.
Yeah, if there's an Achilles heel for North Carolina State, it's their special teams, their kickers, and their punters.
Josh Tchaikovsky has missed 2 31-yard field goal attempts in this ball game. Going into last week, he had made 83 straight extra points. Now the field goals were longer than extra points, but not much. Missed one right and the last one left. He did make a 35-yarder earlier in the quarter. Here's a run play on first down to Preston Lyons for Georgia Tech, and he got a handful. Here's Reese in the studio.
All right, Dave, the Big Ten playing a lot of Mid-American Conference teams today, most of them handling their business. Not so for Purdue against Toledo. Austin Danton to Danny Noble. 14-0. Robert Marv left this game a little bit earlier with an injury. Wisconsin blowing out Austin Peay 28-3. Iowa only up by a touchdown on Ball State.
Here it's 10-0 Reese. NC State. They'll give it to the up man Lions again on second down, and nothing doing. Stood up at the point of attack. Take a look at the last 5 possessions for Georgia Tech. 2 turnovers and a block punt recovered for a touchdown.
Block punt for the touchdown. That's not the normal drive chart. In fact, Georgia Tech came into this game scoring a touchdown on the first drive of their first 3 ball games.
They got 65 total yards, and 25 of those came on one run by Nesbitt. Got a timeout by Georgia Tech. Third down and 3 coming up for the Yellow Jackets midway through the second quarter. Georgia Tech 0 for 5 on third down. This is the first time they've had 3rd and 3 or less out of their 23 plays today. 20 have been rushes. That's not unusual. Only 30 pass attempts all season. NC State has 10 completions today throwing the football. And here's Nesbitt, and he has Georgia Tech's initial first down out to the 34. Time now for Aflac trivia question. Which FBS team was the last to win a game without attempting a pass? I give you a hint. They're kind of like Georgia Tech. Does that help?
Helps a tad.
And it was last year. I left you both speechless. Nesbitt to throw. Gonna go deep for Stephen Hill. Way underthrown and incomplete. Justin Byers on the coverage. Let's go ahead and answer it because about everybody in America I think already got it except you two guys.
Yep.
Or did you already know it? You're just being
Navy,
quiet.
I believe.
Yeah, okay. Here, Aflac trivia question answer is Navy. Wake Forest. They beat them without a pass.
Yeah,
Paul Johnson came from Navy and left the same offense up there.
Yeah, Ken Niumatalolo is now the head coach there.
And there was your first down play action pass, and he had 2 guys open, but unfortunately, he threw the curve out there when they were expecting a fastball.
If he could have got it down the field, give his guy a chance at it.
Nesbitt with the late pitch. Here's Bostic. Great cutback at the 30-yard line. Eventually planted at the 24. 43-yard run by freshman B.J. Bostic.
This is set up by Roddy Jones. Roddy told me yesterday, if you don't block, you don't play in the system. Watch Roddy Jones come out on this and get the block and the knockdown. Right there on Brandon Bishop. He knocks him down, and it's off to the races. And you see Bostic doing what he does best, run with that football. But outstanding blocking on the perimeter by Roddy Jones.
Nesbitt will keep. Breeze camp there for NC State at the line of scrimmage.
Well, this may be a run-oriented offense, but they are just a whisker away on every running play of it coming a big play. Whether it's busting right through the middle of the line or pitching on the wide side, they're just a whisker away from a big play.
Yeah, Orwin Smith last week against North Carolina had a 73-yard touchdown run.
And they're patient with it now. They're not in a hurry. They're patient with what they do, and they trust and believe in what they do.
2nd and 9. Nesbitt pitches to Peoples and shoved out of bounds at the 20-yard line by Earl Wolf. It's a good name for a guy that plays at NC State.
I was gonna say that. He's coming after there, hungry like the wolf.
Please no Duran mentions. I know, Chris, that hey, you've got him on your iPod, but not today, please.
And that's what you need, though. You need pursuit from your safeties and support. And that's why the play action is there when they want it. He's got to get the ball to him.
First man through. And to the 15-yard line is Preston Lyons. He'll be short of the first down, but Georgia Tech has gone for it 8 times on 4th down this year and 27 times last year on 4th down.
And Paul Johnson has been waiting for Preston Lyons to come, asked what he does best, and Paul said that he sees it. He's got a good feel for that B-back position / fullback because of his vision. I look for Nesbitt to do the quarterback follow, boys.
And there it is. And Nesbitt dives for the first down to the 18. The guys of Georgia Tech scores a touchdown. It's a 3-point game. It seems like NC State is dominated.
Exactly, and I'm sure that's what Paul Johnson has told his team on the sideline. Hey, guys, we couldn't have played any worse offensively, and we're only down 10 points, and we score this touchdown. We're in great shape.
Nesbitt will keep again, this time off the left side, and he gets drilled by Natanu McGill, a junior college transfer. Boy, this NC State defense has played well, considering it is so hard to simulate in practice what Georgia Tech does. I mean, you can do some drills to guard against those cut blocks by offensive linemen and the running backs, but it's awfully hard to replicate that.
You got to give Mike Archer a lot of credit. He told us earlier in the week, you know, you can't chop block. You can't chop your own guys in practice.
11th play of the drive. Last week, Georgia Tech had a 20-play drive. It resulted in a field goal. Nesbitt in trouble and falls back to the line of scrimmage.
That's a good way to stop the option and all that stuff is penetration.
And penetration kills everything, but the thing that's tough to simulate in practice is the speed. I mean, you think you have it, but from going back 20-some years to playing against this type of offense, even though you try to simulate the speed, there's nothing like it, so it takes you a little bit of feel. So how to counter that? You call a lot of blitzes so your guys play fast and they're not thinking. That helps you get used to the speed of the triple option offense. That's what they've been doing.
Nesbitt with the pitch. Smith inside the 5. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. A 12-play, 80-yard drive culminating in Orwin Smith's second rushing touchdown of the season. Scott Blair's point after makes it 10-7. Wolfpack.
Right here, gonna go.
How about Roddy Jones again, guys, out there blocking the corner?
Yeah.
Our Bud Light playbook featuring some of those cut blocks for Georgia Tech.
It's all about getting down on the ankles and knees. You see them, they get down there and they root on all fours, and they just keep bringing their feet, and they get out the legs of the defenders. And Joshua Nesbitt, it's all about the read. And when you're an option quarterback, the one thing you have to have, and he showed it on the touchdown, you better be a tough son of a gun. If you're not a tough son of a gun, you're going to get popped in the head like that. But still, Joshua Nesbitt takes the shot, and he delivers the pitch under pressure. A tough kid, a normal quarterback. I don't know if he takes those shots week in and week out like Joshua does.
Chris, you played linebacker. What's it like when a guy's coming at your feet? What's it like for a corner when you see a running back 8 yards downfield going at your feet?
Well, the first thing I do is kick those defensive linemen in the rear end and say, keep those guys off my feet. Now, if they get to your feet, you have to use your hands. If you don't use your hands, you won't get them off. And you got to be able to jump and read and use your hands and be an athlete. It's tough. It's tough due to the block.
And the thing I like about Georgia Tech is their wide receivers block and those A-backs, the other backs in the backfield, have to go out and block. And most of the time, they're using cut blocks.
Here's Grant for NC State. Reversing field. He's got blockers out there. And run out of play at the 30-yard line. Let's check in with Reese Davis now in the studio. All right, Reese, 2:21 left here in the first half. NC State's lead cut to 3. How will Russell Wilson respond? His pass over the middle is pulled in by running back Mustafa Green for about 6 or 7.
One thing Mustafa will learn as he gets older, he's going to run that route in front of the official to use him as a pick. That time he ran it behind the official, and the umpire showed good instincts by ducking. But a lot of times you'll use that. I mean, it's been done in the pros. You can start seeing in college football where that umpire is used as an extra offensive player to run a pick play.
Although in the pros now, the umpire's in the backfield. We might see that in college down the road. Wilson over the middle again and overthrew Steve Howard, and a diving interception attempt by Tarrant. The chase for NASCAR Sprint Cup continues tomorrow. Overall points leader Denny Hamlin racing for a 7th win of the season. The chase for NASCAR Sprint Cup at Dover. Jimmy Johnson on the pole, 4-time defending champs. At 1 Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. With the Clint Boyer's troubles, you see Hamlin now leading the way with over 5,200 points. Third down and 3 for NC NC State. Wilson to the air. Maybe not. Wilson makes a heck of a play to hit Green, who's loose at midfield. Green down the sideline. Flag down as Green is pushed out inside the 40 by Rashad Reed.
The one thing Russell Wilson brings, and we talked about it all game, is that he's a thrower before he's a runner. And this kept that play alive. A running quarterback would have tucked it and ran, yet he bought time with his feet outside the pocket, kept his eyes downfield, and was able to find Mustafa Green.
Made a first down on the play, but there was a block in the back on the play also.
Illegal block in the back. Number 15, offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
All is not lost because it is a spot foul, and that happened to the 46 in Georgia Tech territory.
Watch his eyes. His head never leaves downfield. His eyes come right back up, looking for a receiver. Agility and strength by him. Time and deliver the soft, catchable ball where Mustafa Green can make something happen. You see right there, Davis with the block in the back.
Georgia Tech coming on a blitz off the corner. It's picked up, and Wilson zips that one in there. Right at the first down marker, the catch made by Owen Spencer. You know, everybody talks about Luck and Locker and Mallet for good reason, but I don't know if enough people are talking about Russell Wilson.
Well, it's because he's not 6'3" or 6'4". Chris and I were on the field before the game, and, you know, they list him at 5'11", 209, but I don't know.
Well, he didn't start out lights out either now.
He's in trouble here. Down he goes, back at the 41. Sacked by Brad Jefferson.
That's number 2 on the day for number 51, Brad Jefferson. And I believe it's on the same stunt where he's going to start inside, scrape right off into the tackle guard gap. And they have yet to pick that up as far as protection. You see Jefferson right here. Now take a look what he does. He's showing blitz right now. And as he comes, it's easy to get a quarterback sack, boys, if nobody blocks you.
Oh, geez, not that easy.
I mean, you know, somebody's got to block you. And usually in that case, it's a miscommunication between the back and the center. Because somebody coming straight up the middle, either you got to slide the offensive line and somebody's responsible for that gap, or if you're going man protection, the offensive back has to step up and punch him right in the chops. But it makes it easy. I would have had 20 sacks, Grease, but that never happened to me.
When you went up for something, a big ugly always was blocking you.
Unless you had 400-pound Ted Washington in front of you, nobody was touching you.
Those 3 interior offensive linemen are new starters this year. Wallace, Wentz, and Allen are all sophomores playing for the first time. This is only their 3rd or 4th starts of their career.
I wouldn't be afraid to throw the jump ball here. Again, you got 6'4" and 6'5" wide receivers for the Wolfpack. Throw it up and let them make a play.
Wilson, a beautiful throw again, caught at the 35-yard line, right at the first down marker by Jarvis Williams. That was 2nd and 21, and they get it 22 yards and a first down.
Well, it's just what Chris was talking about, what they did. He's going to look to our right side to hold the safety, and then he throws it to the receiver straight down the sideline in between the 2 DBs.
Wilson to the air again, pumps left, now throws right, looking for Graham, but his defender not fooled. Good coverage by sophomore Rod Sweeting downfield for Georgia Tech.
Sweeting again jumped the short route last time, allowing that room for that ball to get in there to Jarvis Williams. That time good coverage, and he used his body, looked back for the football, and leaned into the receiver.
14 completions today for Wilson, 10 all year for Georgia Tech. And Wilson, as you mentioned, Bob, set the NCAA record for 379 consecutive passes without a pick. And he's at 152 straight, starting a new streak at the end of last year. Wilson on the money again. First down, NC State to Jay Smith at the 21.
Dana Bible said the one thing improvement that he's seen from Russell Wilson from the beginning of the year to now is his eyes. He moves people and defenders with his eyes. He looks to the flat at Mustafa Green, then he comes right back to the curl knowing that will be wide open by his eyes.
And you know that makes a difference being on the defensive side over there.
Wilson going to the end zone, got a man. Incomplete. Howard caught it, but ruled out of bounds. Did not get the foot down. Let's take a look to see if one foot was down on the catch.
Watch that left foot.
Looks like he dragged it, didn't he, before the right foot head out of bounds?
Was he bobbling the ball? Let's take a look.
They will certainly review this further.
Watch the left foot to see if the toe drags.
Ball's in.
Yep, that's a touchdown. I saw a little grass pop up there.
I think he dragged that left foot before the right foot hit out of bounds.
And I think he had possession of the ball.
There it is.
I know the feet are in. I'm just wondering make sure he had possession of the football.
Again, it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the ruling in the field. But as you said, you see a little grass when that left foot slides before the right foot hits out of bounds.
Normally we see those little black pieces of rubber fly up, which helps. There I saw a little bit of grass. Going old school with the grass. You'll take a look at this. Good job of his hands and dragging that left foot.
Boy, again, Russell Wilson. Very impressive throwing the football.
Well, he threw this ball to the back end zone line, the back line of the end zone, to give his receiver and nobody else a chance to catch it.
Looks like even the right foot was down and he had possession.
Yeah,
before the right foot came up.
There is no movement with that ball. Catches it in his hands and moves it to his body.
That would be if it's overturned. Steve Howard's first touchdown of the year.
The question I have is, you're playing this, and I understand, but you got to be deep as the deepest. When you're running a post and you're understanding that the clock is with 20-some, 30-some seconds left, you got to keep the ball in front of you, then rally.
But don't a lot of defensive backs and defenses use the back line of the end zone?
Yeah, but right here you're not like 7 yards. There's his back foot dragging right there, but you're not 7 yards away from the guy if he's running free. I mean, I'd use it too, but it might be a little closer. That's all.
That's why we do what we do. You know?
Again, they're still looking at this, and they have to, if they overturn it, they're going to look at everything, take their time. And it has to be indisputable video evidence. Looks like Brad Allen has got the information he needs to make the call from upstairs.
After further review, the receiver had a foot with control. Touchdown.
Well, that's what all this video evidence and all this replay is all about, to get the play right.
Boy, how about the emotion out of Tom O'Brien? Usually very stoic on the sideline. And the pump fist after the Russell Wilson touchdown pass. Hey, he's 3-0. A lot of people have been on his back. 19-21 at NC State. A lot of people thought that success would come sooner when he came from Boston College.
Well, he had all those injuries that the first 3 years that he's been at NC State.
Point after makes it 17-7. And a good bounce back late in the second quarter after Georgia Tech cut the lead to 3. Now coming up tonight on ABC, Boise State taking on Oregon State, one of several Week 4 storylines. Alabama looks to stay undefeated. Can Arkansas knock them off? And on ESPN tonight, South Carolina and Auburn, a good one in the SEC.
I'm going to see Arkansas's defense. They look improved. Let's see if they'll have a shot.
Arizona, after that home win against Iowa, now 14th in the country. And here are the 3 quarterbacks in the FBS in the top 15 in rushing yards per game. Robinson, Martinez, and Kaepernick for Nevada.
I had a chance to see Kaepernick play early in his career. And he's the real deal. I mean, I'm telling you, he's 6'6", much like Ryan Mallett, but he's a running back at 6'6".
Do you think Arkansas has enough to beat Alabama in faith?
I do. I absolutely think they have enough. It's going to be tough duty. And by the way, getting the Heisman Trophy, Mark Ingram back, then Trent Richardson, who probably would be a Heisman Trophy candidate if he wasn't splitting carries with the Heisman Trophy winner. That's tough duty, boys.
They're like the old Arkansas team that had McFadden and Felix Jones. You got 2 star running backs.
And Greg McElroy's playing at a high level.
We did Arkansas last week, and I was very impressed. Bobby Petrino makes the right calls at the right time. They've got good quarterback play from Mallett. They're just not good enough to beat Alabama.
Cahan on the return for Georgia Tech with 20 seconds left in the half. Tackled at the 22.
All right, Grease. They're all down in Fayetteville saying, you hear what Grease said?
No, I like them. I like Arkansas.
I know.
Yeah, but I like them to a point. They're not in that class with Alabama yet.
Well, I'll put Bobby Petrino's play calling up against anybody in the country. The question is, Willie Robinson and his defense.
Petrino against Saban. That's a great coaching matchup there.
Absolutely.
Not quite in that class yet.
Georgia Tech with 16 seconds left. And you talked about this earlier, Bob, because of the way they run their offense, and they can break a long one on a run.
Yeah.
So still a play or two left, you would think, for Georgia Tech. They do have 2 timeouts. Nesbitt, little inside handoff. And Allen going to get taken down short of the line of scrimmage. Nate Irving was not fooled on that run play, and that is the final play of the first half. NC State trying to go to 4-0 on the season. Leads Georgia Tech by 10. Time now for the Bud Light halftime report. Here's Reese.
Welcome back to college football on ESPN, presented by Cars.com.
Back in Atlanta, Bobby Dodd Stadium, the oldest FBS stadium, opened back in 1913. Georgia Tech, the home team, down 10 to North Carolina State. 2 takeaways by the NC State defense, giving it 9 on the year. They had 14 all of last year. It's a big reason why they are 3-0 after only 5 wins a year ago. Tchaikovsky kicking off. Here's McCahan from the 2. And McCahan across the 30-yard line, stuck at the 35 and brought down there. Dave Pashbaugh, Greasy Crispion in Atlanta. Well, guys, I know Georgia Tech lost 2 guys to the NFL in terms of being first-round picks, Demaryius Thomas and Derek Morgan on defense. But NC State looks pretty good, and they play hard on D.
Well, they do. But their problem over the years has been a lot of injuries. They lost a lot of players last year, but they've got a lot of the guys that were coming back healthy, and I think that's what's making a little bit of the difference.
Well, it's all about adjustments. Georgia Tech has to adjust to what North Carolina State's doing defensively, and they got to get their perimeter running game going. Their big runs that they've had have been on the perimeter or the outside.
Here's Nesbitt, got a big hole. Nesbitt being chased inside the 30. All the way to the 3-yard line. The ball came out, but Nesbitt was down at the 3. And he's still down.
And that's the perimeter running game we've been talking about, or the outside running game that we've been talking about. Everybody gets inside. Nobody has the quarterback. You saw big number 97, McKinney, jump too far inside. Nesbitt goes around him. McKinney was responsible for the quarterback. And Nesbitt in open space is as good as having any type of running back you want to have out there.
And I think right there in the first play of the second half, you see the genius of Paul Johnson in this offense. He changed some blocking at halftime. The first play out goes for almost a score.
61 yards. Nesbitt, though, takes a seat at the 5. Lost a yard or 2. Reese Camp on the stop. That was Joshua Nesbitt's longest run of his career. 61 yards. Touchdown saving tackle by C.J. Wilson for NC State.
Right there, the 2 A-backs got confused. Nobody was on the same page, but I'm going to dispute you just a little bit, Bob. Yes, Paul Johnson is great at making adjustments, but Akini was there. He jumped inside on a dive or the fullback, where his responsibility was the quarterback. 2 guys on the fullback, 0 on the quarterback, equals big play.
Nesbitt had a little trouble with the snap. Got it to Jones. Touchdown. First touch of the day for Roddy Jones, and it's 6. And the point after gets Georgia Tech within 3 again early in the 3rd. Take a look now at our Jeep Drive recap. was a quick drive thanks to this 61-yard run by Joshua Nesbitt. Took it to the 3. And then on second down, Roddy Jones with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year.
See, Nate Irving was able to come through untouched, has trouble with the snap. Nate chose wrongly. Roddy chose correct. Roddy's in the end zone. All set up by Nesbitt in the big play capability of this Georgia Tech offense.
And the adjustments they made at halftime.
Yeah, that's what they do now. North Carolina State, Mike Archer, they have to adjust defensively what they're doing. But there was nothing different that Georgia Tech did. Maybe you're right, Bob, they could have maybe altered a little blocking scheme. You take this guy or that guy. That's not uncommon. They'll go on the sidelines and Paul Johnson will say, all right, block this guy instead of that guy. That's their adjustment.
Sure, he went to the chalkboard at halftime and says, all right, what are they doing? He listened to everybody that had some input, and then he said, all right, we'll make this adjustment, that adjustment, block this a little bit differently, and you saw the results.
Here's Scott Blair with a kickoff. T.J. Graham, the deep man for NC State. Graham at the 20. Nowhere to run. Brought down at the 21.
First test, flying colors. But the closer the ultimate goal for Boise State, the brighter the spotlight burns. The Broncos are firmly in the BCS title race now, and no bigger threat lies ahead than 24th-ranked Oregon State. All eyes on the blue turf as College Game Day comes to Idaho. Oregon State and Boise State tonight at 8 Eastern.
Chris Peterson has not lost at home. 26-0 on the blue turf as the head coach of Boise State. NC State's first possession of the second half. Here's Spencer out on the flat, and he's on the run. Out across the 40. Got almost 20 yards on that play.
I'm impressed with the depth of the receiving core for NC State. The receiver earlier that made that great reception in the end zone for the touchdown, Howard, he's like their 5th or 6th guy on the list.
And they're all big and tall. And again, what they do is they'll hit you with short passes, but they are a vertical throwing football team. That means they like to jack it down the field.
They all catch the ball with their hands.
Wilson to toss again, has Spencer again, and cannot get away from Dominique Reese. Got about 8 yards to midfield. Last week against Cincinnati, Russell Wilson found 11 different receivers. Today he's found 10 different guys through the air. 247 passing yards for Russell Wilson.
And that's a credit to Dana Bible. You go back to, just here's a 5-man route, 5-man pattern. You find the receiver that's going to be open and throw it to him.
And a big hole down the middle of the field. Dean Haynes to the 39. Dana Bible mixing things up, 4th-year offensive coordinator. He told us on our conference call with him, he said his spirit is great, but his body's a wreck. He's coming back from being diagnosed with leukemia last November, but was declared this summer cancer-free.
Yeah, I had a chance to speak with him before the game, and when you're a cancer patient coming through chemo, you get 3-month checkups. And he had a checkup this week, and everything was still clear after 3 months. It was great news for Dana and his family.
Absolutely. Wilson on the rollout. Dumps it off to Gentry, and he takes on a corner, and Gentry wins. Stepped out of bounds at the 17-yard line.
Looked like Zonka. Was that Zonka?
Zonka couldn't catch. He couldn't catch if I handed it to him.
Oh, man. Look at that. It looks like Zonka running.
Yeah, this was the play they ran earlier in the game that Wilson gave him a bad throw, a low throw. This time, he caught it pretty high. He came into the game with 4 receptions, 2 of them for touchdowns, so he can catch.
He's got 23 catches over the course of his career and no rushes. They've never handed the ball off to him. Haynes ripped down as a helmet goes flying at the 14-yard line. Brad Jefferson on the stop, 4 yards for Haynes. It's Brandon Watts that lost his lid.
thing I like about the North Carolina State running backs, and I saw this at Boston College when Tom O'Brien was the head coach at Boston College. They are tough guys. I mean, there's not a lot of dancing with his running backs. I mean, both these two guys, Haynes and Green, both hit it up in there hard and with purpose.
Here's Haynes again. This time, nothing doing. Dropped by Jason Peters. We talked about Derek Morgan, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, leaving early, and that left a hole on that defensive line, especially with the transition from the 4-3 to the 3-4.
You know, and Jefferson's helmet just came off. Now, that's the fourth helmet. If we're going to get serious about injuries and get on the equipment manager or get on somebody to keep these helmets on, because they're coming off with just little shots.
Al Groh, the first-year defensive coordinator after 10 years as the head coach at Virginia.
Sounds funny to say the first year anything with Al Groh. He's been around for a while.
It's his fourth ACC school that he's coached at. Wilson finds Davis. Broke a tackle and got the first down to the 7-yard line.
That's what size does at receiver, Grease. Those guys are hard to tackle, and you're working on Dominic Grease at 5'11". And Davis is out there 6'4", 6'5". Even if he gets him down, you have the ability to reach and stretch to get that first down.
And these receivers have been around a while. Spencer is a senior. Williams is a fifth-year senior. Davis is a senior. Wilson is a fourth-year sophomore, junior, redshirt junior. So he's been with these guys a lot.
Wilson hands it off, and Haynes brought down at the 6. You saw Isaiah Johnson, true freshman safety, coming from behind, trying to grab a hold of the jersey of Dean Haynes. Ijon Cross there as well for Tech.
That's Al Groh dialing up blitzes. I mean, you're not going to sit there in a base defense. You have to make something happen as they're moving the football. Isaiah Johnson coming from his safety position, times it perfectly. Now you want to get that head and close it across the bow. Don't tackle behind. You'll never get him.
Wilson to the air. Dumps it off. And at the 1-yard line, Jarvis Williams got in. Got the ball across for the NC State touchdown. Recovered a blocked punt for a touchdown in the first half. And the guy who led the ACC in touchdown receptions a year ago gets his first touchdown grab of 2010.
It's running a little circle route over the middle of the field.
Guys, what he did, he ran that route in front of the umpire, which gave him just a slight little pick.
Nice stop. Action here. They're going to review this further to see if he got the ball across before he went down.
Steven Sylvester, the linebacker, number 34, comes in and gives him a pretty good shot along with Cooper Taylor.
Watch his knee go down now, right? There.
But what you can't, it looked like right there is when he stretched it out. So it did look like from that shot, get a better look here. Yeah, it's hard to tell based on where that ball is, right?
Let's see. Here comes the knee. The knee is down right there. But you can't tell from that angle.
Yeah, you can't see that.
Again, it's got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the ruling in the field, which is a touchdown.
Sylvester does a good job. Taylor does a good job. And I love how Jarvis Williams covers that ball up with 2 hands. And he's down right there, and there's the goal line. And remember, the ball just has to pass the front part of the goal line, not the whole goal line, just the front part.
Hard to tell.
Break the plane.
Yep.
But again, size at receiver, and strength and length.
Big.
Game of inches. They mean it when they say it.
J5. J5 is his nickname. He's 6'4", 220 pounds.
The ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Not enough evidence.
I agree.
To overturn the ruling in the field.
Right.
Good job by our replay technician, taking just over a minute before making that decision. Second touchdown pass for Russell Wilson today, 10th on the year.
Nice answer, though, huh? Get the ball shoved down your throat, come back and put it right down theirs.
Chakowski, who missed 2 short field goals in the first half, gets the extra point. North Carolina State back up 10 in Atlanta. The fountains at Centennial Olympic Park. By the way, guys, do you know back in 1996 at the Centennial Olympics, Who lit the Olympic torch during opening ceremony? It's our second Athletic trivia question. Famous boxer.
Muhammad Ali, I believe.
There we go. Very good. Bostic and McCahan back to receive the kick. After North Carolina State responds with a touchdown. Following Georgia Tech score, McCahan cut it back. And down he goes at the 27. Here's Reese Davis.
Dave, every week we honor the AT&T All-America Player of the Week. Early nominee, Miami's Ja'Cory Harris, shook off a couple of interceptions in the 31-3 win against Pittsburgh, threw for 248 and a couple of touchdowns. All you have to do, text the word VOTE to 345-345 on your mobile phone. You can cast your vote and enter for a chance to win a trip to the national championship game.
Miami in the Coastal Division of the ACC with Georgia Tech. First 5 possessions of the Yellow Jackets, they struggled. They had a punt block for a touchdown and 2 fumbles, but they've done well. Their last 2, but Nesbitt going down here, losing a couple of yards as Michael Lemon, a transfer from Georgia, coming back home, making a play here for the Wolfpack.
Well, I guarantee you one of the topics discussed on the sidelines with Mike Archer as he gathered his troops around was, if you have the quarterback, take the quarterback. Well, that time they had 2 guys on the quarterback, and you saw Lemon playing opposite of Akini. Akini didn't take him for the big run. That time the adjustment, Lemon made sure he didn't go for the dive flick and took the quarterback.
Nesbitt with a misdirection pitch to Hill. And he gets tagged at the 27-yard line. Lemon again. Nate Irving also there. And boy, it's great to see Nate Irving flying around again. Here's a guy that missed all of last year after a horrific car accident. He said he was lucky that he lived through it. He's back playing football and playing well for the Wolfpack.
And Audie Cole saved the day on that one, too. Audie Cole turned that ball inside, was able to defeat a blocker and force it back inside to the pursuit of Lemon.
If he hadn't have been there, there'd been big yardage.
Another 3rd and long. Georgia Tech had a lot of these in the first half, and they do not have any passing yards today. No completions in 4 attempts. Nesbitt has an open man. It's Orwin Smith. First completion of the day, but there's a penalty flag down.
You're going to have an illegal man downfield because there was 2 receivers on the line, and they both went downfield.
Yep. Thrown at the 28-yard line, so negate the first completion of the day.
That just drives a coach nuts. Paul Johnson on the sideline. You finally get a play where you pick up. Here you go. Right here, these 2 guys are on the line of scrimmage. Right there, he moved up. He moved up, and the other guy did not move back. And the guy in the slot still went out, and it's, you can't do that. Paul says, well, we finally convert a 3rd down with a pass, and then we can't line up right.
And they probably run that formation maybe once or twice a game.
Third and 13 at the 24-yard line. First Georgia Tech penalty. Nesbitt stepping up, in trouble. Got rid of the pass and broken up at the last second, incomplete. What a great play by Earl Wolf. Because Nesbitt, as he was falling down, got rid of it, and he had a man.
That was a great effort by Nesbitt to avoid the sack. He's avoiding the sack. Now he wants to just get rid of it. He sees him out there.
And Roddy Jones was there.
He was going to catch it. Good play offense, good play defensively.
Sean Poole to punt. Again, NC State had a blocked punt, recovered for a touchdown. 2nd week in a row, the Wolfpack had blocked a punt. They did it in a win against Cincinnati. They come after this one, and they got close. And fair caught at the 39-yard line by T.J. Graham. Russell Wilson back on the field already. 2 touchdown passes when we come back.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Jeep and Overture Films. Let Me In. Innocence Dies, Abby Doesn't. Rated R in theaters October 1st.
Shout to the Capitol Building here in Atlanta, where North Carolina State leads the home team. Georgia Tech by 10, and Russell Wilson back to work. Wilson looking deep, throwing on the run for Spencer. Throw his hands, but a flag down. They're going to get Dominique Reese for interference at the 20.
That was a bullet, too. He was turning two. There wasn't any air under that. What he does, allowed Spencer to go up and make a play.
Defense, number 26, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Should have caught it, right, Spencer?
Yeah. You see Reese coming with that left hand, hooked him just a little bit. Let's see if we can see that left hand in there, right there, touching his arm. Now that's a little ticky-tack for me.
Did grab his jersey at the end, though.
Yeah, but if he hadn't have called it, should he have called it?
Well,
he should have called it.
Spencer should have caught it
his arm
to begin with.
I don't think it affected the. I mean, you can call it both ways. It's just ticky-tack. It's a foul, but still.
How about to your point about Russell Wilson, though? Remember Al Groh said, he doesn't lay up.
Right.
Using a golf analogy when talking about his arm strength and his ability to throw on the run. And he throws another bullet. Caught inside the 25 by Graham to the 23.
The thing that he does really well is he sits in the pocket and he reads, and when he sees a crack or an opening, he gets the ball there quickly. Unlike Ja'Cory Harris the other night for the Miami Hurricanes, everything comes out of his arm softly. Everything is too soft. This guy just fires it in there.
Wilson again throwing short, juggling it is Davis, but he caught it. Got about 3. Well, Russell Wilson is a junior. Now, he does have 1 year of eligibility remaining if he chooses to come back, but he was a 4th-round draft pick in baseball, and he played this summer and spring out in Washington State, single A. But a lot of people around the program think he wants to play in the NFL. That's why he might return. That one out on the flat, dropped by Davis. So it's 3rd and 7. Wilson, a utility infielder, going back to Chris's reference about turning 2. Here were his offensive numbers with the Tri-City Dust Devils.
He may be able to hit a receiver better than he can hit a curveball. 230 batting average.
How realistic is it at 5'11" to play quarterback in the NFL?
Not very.
At 5'11"? Well, not very likely. However, there are some that have done it and are doing it. Drew Brees does it 6 foot at the most.
And again, Seneca Wallace is about 5'11". He's starting as well for Cleveland. Inside handoff, Green shakes a tackle and plows across the first down line to the 10. And he's still going. They can't get him down. The ball came out, though, at the end. And some pushing and shoving as well. Looks like they're going to rule that forward progress from Green was stopped at the 7-yard line.
The coaching point on that, you got 5 big guys up front that are fighting and playing as hard as they can, and they're getting tired because they're going no huddle offense. And you see all those guys running down there to protect their guy. You see Mustafa Green pushing. Now all of a sudden you're going to see 5 big guys turn it into a rugby match or scrum.
And it is hot out there. We mentioned it at the start of the game, but we need to mention it again. It is really hot.
About 90 degrees. Here's Green picking a hole. Flag down, and so is Green after a gain of 1.
Holding, offense, number 79, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's R.J. Mattis, right tackle, who's back from injury. Here are some notable college football players who played professional baseball. The obvious ones, Bo and Dion. You have Chris Winkie, who won a Heisman Trophy at Florida State.
When Winkie came back,
how many people know about Elway?
Yeah, when Winkie came back from playing baseball, then he went to Florida State to play football. And he was 22 when he started as a freshman. And 4 years later, Bobby Bowden said, I wish all my boys were 26.
First down and goal from the 17. Green finds a seam inside the 10. And to the 7-yard line where Mario Edwards greets him.
This is a young, true freshman that's getting more confident the more he plays. The thing I run him, he makes a decision. He's not a shaky guy. He makes one cut and he goes. You know who he reminds me of? Benny Malone. Do you remember Benny Malone?
I sure do. I sure do.
Just straight ahead, man. Straight ahead Ed. That's what he is. He's a straight ahead Ed. Benny Malone, of course, played for the Miami Dolphins and brother of great Atlanta Falcon Art Malone.
Green dives to the 6-yard line. Another Georgia Tech helmet is off.
You went back a long way for that one.
Cross lost his lid.
Well, when I'm with you, I just feel Dolphins. All I think is Dolphins.
I'm glad you didn't say you feel old. You said you feel Dolphins. That's good.
Grease makes me feel young because he's young.
There you go.
Big third down here, guys, for Georgia Tech's defense.
Again, the size advantage, so you always got to think if you're on Georgia Tech, you're out there on the corners. You got Jarvis up here, number 5, about 6'4". You always got the fade into play.
Wilson facing pressure, going to take off. Touchdown.
Everybody was covered except the quarterback, and that's why you saw Al Groh say, we had everybody covered except the quarterback. He gets out of the pocket. He was telling us yesterday, we want to keep him in the pocket. Don't let him get outside and scramble.
Russell Wilson responsible for 3 touchdowns today. That's his first rushing touchdown of the season. It comes on third down. And it stretches this to a 3-possession game after the point after. 17-point lead.
You know, you talk about quarterbacks, arm strength, decision making. Let me take a look with my eyes. Jarvis Williams not there. I'll use my eyes. I see a hole. I run. I score.
You're watching ESPN, new home of the Bowl Championship Series.
This kid's good. Russell Wilson with 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown run. North Carolina State opens up a 17-point lead. Wolfpack looking to go to 4-0. They play Virginia Tech in Raleigh next weekend. The Hokies were winning at Boston College at last check. Kowski kicking off. Bostic and McCahan are deep. Here's Bostic from the 2. And Bostic with a lane across the 30-yard line. Brought down at the 37. All right, Chris, you're in the College Football Hall of Fame. You played 11 years in the NFL. Bob, you're in the College Football Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so I trust your judgment on talent. How good is Russell Wilson?
Well, I think he's playing at a level that nobody else is playing at. I mean, you could take a look at Ryan Mallett, but what he brings to the table as far as running the football, enough to get by and enough to hurt you, but throwing the football, he's playing as well as anybody.
He's playing as good as anybody. He's got everything. He's got it. I mean, whatever it is, he just makes the play. If he has to scramble, he moves around a little bit.
Nesbitt with the pitch. Allen cuts it upfield and taken down at the 40-yard line for 4 yards. Let's check in with Reese.
Dave, another team from the ACC, Maryland, playing on ESPNU against Florida International. A 14-14 game. And fine running back for the Terps, Darrell Scott, going 56. Barely eluding a couple of tackles. He's getting close to 100 yards on the day. Terps up by a touch. Virginia Tech with a 13-0 lead on Boston College about halfway through the third.
And here, NC State in control for now, but you never know with Georgia Tech. They can get big plays in chunks on the ground. There's Peoples picking up the first down to the 47-yard line. Russell Wilson running around on the NC State sideline, taking shotgun snaps. See his numbers on the day.
The reason he's doing that, he's mishandled a couple, but he's been able to recover because of his hand-eye coordination and great hands that he has. But a lot of those he's bobbled. 3 of them I counted.
So is Nesbitt, but he's got the third-string center in there because of injury. Nesbitt going deep. And it is broken up and incomplete, intended for Stephen Hill. C.J. Wilson on the coverage. Georgia Tech still without a completion today.
This was a good throw by Nesbitt. He got it far enough. He got it out there. Now you're just asking your receiver, Will Hill, just to make a play.
Wilson with good coverage. Nesbitt now 9 of 31 passing on the season. Wilson, a sophomore, started 6 games as a freshman a year ago. Playing well at corner today. Out in the flat it goes to Earls. Makes a move at the 45. Brought down a couple of yards shy of a first down by Terrell Manning. 2 undefeated rivals battle for sole possession of first place in the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers and Jay Cutler square off on ESPN's Monday Night Football. It all starts at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Are the Bears for real? They beat Dallas last week.
The Bears
barely beat Detroit week 1 though.
See number 6? If number 6 plays, they're for real. If he doesn't play, they're not very good.
Nesbitt had trouble either getting the snap or after he got the snap, and he's dropped for a loss by Nate Irving.
I think he pulled it out late.
So it's 4th down. 9 times Georgia Tech has been stuffed for negative yardage today on the ground. And they're going to go here on 4th and 3. 2 minutes to go on the 3rd down 17.
I believe if I'm doing this, my most successful play has been with this guy right here, number 20, Roddy Jones, being a lead blocker.
Nesbitt going to keep. Stood up by Terrell Manning. Wolfpack takes over on downs.
Got to hand it to Mike Archer and this defense, Chris. They're playing, what do you call it? Assignment football. Somebody takes the dive, somebody takes the quarterback, somebody takes a pitch.
Yeah, and I talked to Mike before the game. He said, Chris, I haven't done this in 10 years. He's relying on John Tenuta when he was at Notre Dame. And you see Manning just coming in on the blitz. And I talked to John Tenuta. John Tenuta told me we're going to blitz him, Chris. There's Paul Johnson saying, well, if we want to run it, I got to play for it, but we have to execute and get a hat on a hat. There's John Tenuta working hand in hand this week with Mike Archer, the fine defensive coordinator, to develop a game plan to stop the Georgia Tech option offense.
Tenuta at Notre Dame the last 2 years, at Georgia Tech prior to that, but the Yellow Jackets weren't running this offense then. Shane Gailey was the head coach as Haynes gets about 4 or 5 into Tech territory.
North Carolina State has scored a touchdown on their last 3 possessions. They've had it 2 times in the 3rd quarter, and they scored on their last possession of the 1st half.
Is this the best team in the ACC? NC State.
I'm going to say that, and like I said before, on the little whip around that we did before the ball game, that NC State is going to be the surprise team of the conference for sure.
Wilson off play action again with a completion and a 1st down inside the 40 to Owen Spencer.
If you got a quarterback that's playing like this and he continues to play like this, then they might be the best team. And you have, I'll tell you another key for the defensive side of the ball. You mentioned it, Dave. You have their best defensive player, Irving, coming back, and he's starting to play at a high level. He's having a great game today. If he gets it going and they become two-dimensional with the emergence of Mustafa Green, then you add Wilson and the guys, the fact that he throws to 11 different receivers, they're a difficult offense to stop.
How about special teams? 2 block punts in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
2 missed field goals today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. But
their kickers, they need a huge improvement there.
here's Haynes finding a hole. Flag down, though. Haynes brought down at the 34. Thrown in the area of offensive holding.
Holding. Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
It's Gary Gregory. Here's the last 5 possessions for North Carolina State. At least 7 plays.
Yep.
In each of those.
And they've scored in 4 of the last 5, and the only one is the missed field goal.
The way that the ACC has looked against other automatic qualifiers in terms of some of their bigger games, it's hard to say that NC State right now isn't the best. Georgia Tech lost to Kansas. Miami lost earlier in the year to Ohio State, but Miami's ranked. NC State is not. But if it wins this game, it might be. It's got a 17-point lead after 3. Back in Atlanta at Bobby Dodd Stadium, where North Carolina State looking to go to 4-0 in command with a 17-point lead and the ball as the 4th quarter begins. Redshirt junior and graduate student Russell Wilson, an outstanding day today. Had that one, though, knocked down by Robert Hall, incomplete. 2nd down and 20 for the Wolfpack. But Wilson so far today has 2 touchdown passes, over 300 yards passing for the 2nd straight game. He has also run for a score.
And that right there is probably the biggest problem that we've had with Russell Wilson today, is because of his size, he gets some balls knocked down. Here's a running play. Haynes picked up and driven to the ground.
Julian Burnett with a big stick after a gain of a couple. It's 3rd down and long, and Georgia Tech has to get the ball back.
One thing, if you're Al Groh, you got to think, what can we do 3rd and long? One thing I would know is I would play the sticks because of the ability for North Carolina State to vertical pass. They look to go vertical. Now you got to decide you want to do that with 5 men and 6 men in coverage or 7. I would do 7 because the protection's been pretty solid.
Well, how about blitzing? Try to create a turnover. You need to make something happen.
Low snap. Wilson scoops like a second baseman. He is one in the offseason and throws it away. It'll bring up 4th down.
They brought 5 guys, so that means 6. They came with a zone pressure. You see Isaiah Johnson coming off the corner. Russell Wilson buying time. And you're right, the one thing he does do that won't go in a stat book is he's not going to make a mistake. If it's not there, he's going to throw it where his guy can get it, or it's a souvenir.
Like I said, he came into the game today completing only 56% of his passes. In college football and pros, everybody completes 65% of the passes now because of all the checkdowns and the outlets.
On 165 straight passes without an interception. Did 379 earlier in his career. Georgia Tech was coming after that one. Here's Tarrant on the return from the 15-yard line. And trying to get away from a tackler. He does out to the 25, and there's a flag down.
During the return, illegal block in the back on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty.
Let's check in with Reese Davis while we have a moment.
All right, Dave, we told you Michigan has played all 3 quarterbacks. Tate Forcier has hit all 9 of his passes. This one to John McColgan for a touchdown. Bowling Green just scored again, 44-21. Michigan up by 23. Purdue creeping closer, getting back in it against the Rockets, 24-17. Toledo with the lead.
Guys, Michigan, are they for real?
I think they are, and I think having all of those quarterbacks with experience, they're going to need it because injuries to running quarterbacks are going to happen.
First down from the Georgia Tech 10. Nesbitt throwing, has Allen wide open. Allen stays on his feet, shows great balance. Allen still going, breaking all kinds of tackles to the 40 of NC State.
It's a good design play action on first down. We're talking about Paul Johnson needing to do this. He wanted to do this coming into the game. Allen's going to sneak out from his B-back position after the fake to Jones, getting the offensive and defensive flow going to the left, coming back to his left, hitting Allen, and does a great job of not going out of bounds, fighting and clawing for everything he can get. And you got a no-huddle going here by the Yellow Jacket offense.
See if that inspires the rest of the team. Here's a pitch that's high. Pulled in, though. And Bostic, he breaks a tackle. And finally swirled out of play at the 32 by Irving, but it's a gain of 8.
If I'm Mike Archer, defensive coordinator for State, I'm thinking, how many missed tackles have I seen on the last 2 plays? A ton of them.
7.
Yeah.
That's what I counted.
Yeah.
I take it personal, apparently.
Yeah.
Nesbitt to throw, got a man wide open, touchdown! Tyler Melton had nobody covering him. First catch of the year for Tyler Melton. Only the 3rd completion of the day for Nesbitt, and it's 6. 3-play, 90-yard drive. Remember that drive started at the 10 after the penalty on the punt return.
1st and 10, 2nd and short, play action, suckers every time.
Georgia Tech back within 10. Plenty of time left here in Atlanta.
Straight down the field, the flanker was lined up tight. Great throw.
Last week, Paul Johnson against North Carolina dialed up a 20-play, 10-minute and 32-second drive. Their 2 scoring drives of this half have been both 3 plays. One went 1 minute and 27 seconds, and the last one only a minute. Paul ball falls off the tee. So Scott Blair will reset it. Georgia Tech not out of this because of their ability to come up with short scoring drives.
I know this is going to sound silly in a lot of circles, but if I'm North Carolina State, you know what I go back to? I go back to my no huddle, because Georgia Tech's defense hasn't stopped their no huddle all day.
Here's Graham at the 5. And Graham gets clocked at the 26-yard line.
Let's go back to the touchdown. Here's 84 Melton. He's going to go straight down the field. There's going to be nobody in the deep center. The play action starts. Nobody is in center field. Melton goes straight down the field, and Nesbitt doesn't need to set his feet. Nice completion there.
2nd and 4. They're set up for it. They had the safety sitting at 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. All of them jumped run. Good sell by Nesbitt. Executed. Good call by Paul Johnson.
NC State will go shotgun here. And Wilson to throw. Everybody covered. Wilson pushed out. Good defense by Brad Jefferson. Minimal gain on the play for Russell Wilson.
For Paul Johnson and the Yellow Jackets to have any chance the rest of the way, and they do have a chance because their offense is just starting to click. Their defense has got to stop the offense of NC State. The Wolfpack has scored 4 straight times, 4 touchdowns in their last 4 possessions.
White out here at Bobby Dodd Stadium. All the fans wearing white as Wilson's pass is dropped. No flag. Let's check in with Reese.
All right, guys, Maryland's having its hands full with Florida International over on ESPNU in this Sports Center right now, brought to you by Discover. Danny O'Brien hitting Torrey Smith. The flag you saw there is on Florida International. Smith leads the ACC. It was his 5th touchdown catch from 68. The Terps back on top right now, 28-21.
Reese here. It's a 10-point game, and NC State has a 3rd down and 10. They've been good so far on 3rd down. Wilson in trouble. And his pass well underthrown and intercepted. Tarrant inside the 10. In. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. Russell Wilson never throws interceptions, but a big pick here, taken back for 6 by Gerard Tarrant.
Boy, that crafty veteran, Al Grove. Dialed the blitz right into the play action.
166 straight passes without an interception until that one, and it's a big one. And they may review this further to see if Tarrant got in. They will.
Pressure on the quarterback forces him out of the pocket. He was throwing it over the head of the shorter receiver. Never saw Tarrant right there. See if he gets in. Couldn't tell from there. The official is right there. He had a good look at it.
Watch the ball. Looked like he got it over before he went out of bounds. And even if your body's out and you're still in the air and the ball's across, it's a touch. Very hard to overturn the ruling on the field, which is a touchdown.
Plus he hit the pylon, so that's part of the field.
Yep.
See right there, great effort of seeing that end zone. And that's one place where you approve of the dive into the end zone. I just want to, just the defense called by Al Groh. I mean, it was outstanding. Why? There's the ball hitting the cone, which would confirm a touchdown. When Al Groh knew that North Carolina State hurt him a little bit off the bootleg play action look. So what he did was he dialed and chose right. He brought Jefferson.
The ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And Isaiah Johnson off the corner. Russell didn't expect him. They were in his face. Russell tried to make the decision to throw it away. Errant throw, and Tarrant doing a good job of holding his coverage and turning the interception, a good play, into a great play by scoring 6 off of it.
after gets Georgia Tech within 3, 12:05 remaining. Gerard Tarrant had 4 touchdowns last year, 2 on special teams, 2 on defense, and a big defensive touchdown here.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com, where confidence comes standard, and in part by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Back in Atlanta, where Georgia Tech is back, only down 3 to North Carolina State thanks to 14 points in 50 seconds. Gerard Tarrant with a pick 6. TJ Graham awaits from the 4. Graham trying to get outside, but good coverage by the Yellow Jackets. Graham taken down just outside the 25 by Lewis Young. 2 undefeated SEC rivals match up on ESPN tonight. Steve Spurrier's South Carolina Gamecocks against Cam Newton and Auburn. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels on ESPN tonight, 7:45 Eastern.
The old ball coach got him going.
That's going to be a good one at Auburn tonight. And depending on what happens in Fayetteville with Arkansas and Alabama, could be even bigger come kickoff. North Carolina State from the 26, run play, and they get about 7 with Haynes as we check in with Reese.
Dave, along with NC State, the ACC's other unbeaten team is Boston College against Virginia Tech. Tech up 16-0. Look at the deflection, and Mark Herzlich gets the interception. It's the best chance for BC to score would have been if Mark had taken it for a touchdown. It came to nothing. They punted away, 16-0 to score.
Great to see Herzlich back out there running around, huh, guys?
Great to see him running around is right.
Tom O'Brien, former Boston College head coach, now the head man at NC State. They call for a run. Haynes gets the first down out to the 39-yard line.
You know, when Tom O'Brien was at Boston College and Dana Bible was there with him, they had a pretty good quarterback up there, too, that they put into the pros.
Who now plays in the city, by the way, for
Matt
the Atlanta
Ryan, who is not here, he's out in Denver. They're playing Denver tomorrow, I believe, or San Diego, I think. No, New Orleans. It's New Orleans. But anyway, they've got a pretty good quarterback on this roster right here, Russell Wilson.
So they know how to coach him. They also have the Hasselbecks at Boston College as well.
Exactly.
Out on the flat, Jarvis Williams dragged down at the 47-yard line, so it's a gain of about 7.
And what they're doing, too, is they're winning first downs, keeping their composure. And I like the fact that they're deciding to take a physical fight to Georgia Tech and try to reestablish that line of scrimmage. And they've done it by setting up run, run, run. Now, again, they love the short pass, and they're setting up one vertical. They have it when they want it.
But there is no doubt that the whole momentum of this game has shifted over to Georgia Tech.
See the yards on first down. Both teams doing well as Wilson has another first down. Not afraid to take on a couple of defenders, too, to the 38-yard line of Georgia Tech. And I think that time it was Julian Burnett who got the worst of that one. That collision between him and Russell Wilson. Chris, you would never say take me out after a quarterback hit you, would you?
No. Yeah, to go hide my head. But if I were Dana Bible and Coach O'Brien, I'd say, hey, Russell, once you get your yards, maybe go ahead and slide. You're too valuable to this football team, but he is a competitor.
23rd first down, 10th since halftime for North Carolina State. Green taken down at the point of attack by Anthony Ibunaway. Inside 10 minutes to go, North Carolina State trying to remain undefeated. Georgia Tech trying to go to 2-0 in ACC play after a win at North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Wilson to the air. Wide open over the middle is Green. Inside the 25. Gain of about 15 and a first down.
We talked about how Russell Wilson had gone for so long without throwing an interception, not only for this year. How does that affect someone? Well, a young quarterback, it might affect him, but a veteran quarterback in his 4th year at NC State, it's not going to bother him. He'll shake it off and just come on back.
There's Green pounding his way to the 19. They boon away on the stop. Gain of about 3.
The problem that Georgia Tech has defensively, and a lot of teams have it, is they're not getting any pressure when they bring 4 and they drop 7. So that'll give Russell time to sit back there all day and pick his target. When they get pressure, it's when they bring in 5, and Coach Groves backing that up with a zone coverage with the zone blitz. That's the only way they've gotten pressure today.
Wilson pumps, now throws it away. Remember, they got pressure on Wilson on that interception return for a touchdown on the last possession. That was also on 3rd down. They've got 3rd and 6 here. What do you expect to see from North Carolina State in this play?
Well, they're going to put it in Wilson's hands, no doubt about that. They've been successful right over the middle of where the ball is, where the middle linebacker normally lines up. Completion's there.
Flag down. Play clock at 0.
We're getting Mustafa Green.
Offense, number 33. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
So there was movement before there was delay of game because the play clock was at 0.
The true freshman, Mustafa Green, got a little excited either to get out in a route or help in his pass protection, and he leaned a little bit forward. Take a look. There's Mustafa Green up here at the top. There's that little simulation of a start. It was him getting out on a pattern.
Now, do you call the same play offensively, or do you change it up and do something else? I would change the play and the formation.
Keep in mind, North Carolina
Same
State
formation, Bob. Sorry, Dave.
They've missed 2 31-yard field goals in this game. Wilson, going end zone. What a catch. Touchdown. T.J. Graham pulls it in for 6. Wilson does it again, his 3rd touchdown pass.
That is just trusting your receivers. He's been with these guys for 3 and 4 years, and he throws it up. He's going to be covered. The second man in, he's covered. Just gives him an opportunity to catch it or knock the ball down.
Boy, they have responded well when faced with adversity today. They bounced back after that interception for a touchdown. 9-play, 74-yard drive. Wilson with a touchdown pass. The 4th he's accounted for. 1 rushing, 3rd passing. Point after makes it a 10-point lead again for NC State on the road. T.J. Graham with his 3rd touchdown catch of the year, and Russell Wilson now has thrown 11 on the season. 1 interception. Who knows, he may catch Phillip Rivers for the all-time record at North Carolina State. He's number 2 behind Rivers. 2nd straight week, he's thrown 40 passes. Career high 359 yards passing for Wilson. McCahan for Georgia Tech. Will not get back to the 20. What a tackle by Taylor Gentry.
Gentry.
The chase for NASCAR Sprint Cup continues tomorrow. From Dover at 1 Eastern on ESPN, Jimmy Johnson is on the pole. He's the 4-time defending champ. Denny Hamlin, the overall points leader, looking for a 7th win of the season.
Would be a whopper of a race, Dave.
Try the veal as well, Chris. Knowing you'll have 2 servings. First down from the 18. Back to throw goes Nesbitt. In trouble. Sacked at the 15-yard line. Natanu McGill with the sack for NC State.
It was a 2-man route. Both of his wide receivers on either side of the field were going straight down the field, and he just didn't have time to throw it. They had single coverage. Just throw it up and give him a chance.
Still plenty of time left. 8 minutes to go. NC State with a 10-point lead. Another pass play. 2 in a row. Take a picture. And Nesbitt gets rid of it. And it's caught by Hill as he gets twirled to the floor at the 24-yard line. Gain of 9.
You know, the disadvantage that Georgia Tech has is that rarely do they work on pass protection or pass blocking. And so they're not very good at it, so they have to hope that play action will slow these guys down. The problem is North Carolina State knows that they can't pound the football and use clock, so they're teeing off, and North Carolina State's in pass rush mode.
4th straight completion for Nesbitt after starting 0 for 6. And on the run, they don't get it. Anthony Allen got maybe a yard or two, and there was a flag down. No flag, excuse me, stoppage. They are going to review whether Stephen Hill caught the pass. Now, the question is, did they signal for the review in time before the ball was snapped?
Well, the replay official up in the booth can buzz down to the umpire. Take a look at it.
Got to complete the catch and hold on to the ball. The ruling on the field is a catch, but he's got to hang on all the way to the ground. And the ball moves. The question is, did he keep his arm under it, or did he lose the football?
I don't know if we can see it.
That's an incomplete pass.
Yep, there you can see it. That was a great shot, guys. And
good shot, good shot.
See the forearm come above and off the ground.
Here's the best look we have for you again. Look like it came out when he hit the ground. But again, the bigger question might be, did they signal it to referee Brad Allen from upstairs in time before that last play?
Well, obviously they did.
After further review, the pass hit the ground in the previous play. It is incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 12 from the 15-yard line.
Boy, these guys have done a great job. How quick, because usually when you have a reversal, it takes time to go back and look what down it is, how much time's on the clock. But this replay crew doing a great job getting it figured out quickly. Again, here is the play after the incompletion.
Well, here's how it works. Every play in college football is reviewed. Now, the last play was reviewed, and if you don't have enough time and you want to look at it, the guy upstairs, then he buzzes down and he and one of these guys, I think it's the umpire or the back judge or somebody, has a buzzer, and he's supposed to stop the play.
The only thing is, I've never seen a play run and tackle and line up, then say the previous play is being reviewed.
Well, obviously, the buzzer went off before the play went off.
3rd and long. Nesbitt in trouble. And Nesbitt takes off, stays in bounds, and has the first down to the 31.
It's great effort by Nesbitt and great vision and field awareness. First of all, avoiding the blitz. Nate Irving comes free. Nesbitt using his escape ability. Then running and not going out of bounds, understanding where the sticks are, cutting it back inside to get enough for the first down. The referee is the one that has the buzzer on his belt.
So fresh set of downs for the Yellow Jackets. Nesbitt to throw. And off the fingertips of Roddy Jones, incomplete. Not on the same page with Nesbitt there.
You know, both these quarterbacks have done a great job today. Nesbitt with the run game and Russell Wilson with the passing game. And those two quarterbacks were the all-conference quarterbacks the last 2 years. Nesbitt last year, and then a couple of years ago in his redshirt freshman year, Russell Wilson was the guy.
And Nesbitt last year rushed for over 1,000 yards, had 1,700 passing yards, had 18 rushing touchdowns last year. Got over 100 rushing yards and passing yards today as a flag comes in.
'27, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
You know, a lot of times when you're not used to pass pro, and their stance as an offensive lineman in general is the weight is on that front foot and they're coming off the football. So sometimes when you get in pass protection mode, you can't have all that weight on that front hand. You got to sit back so you can get up and get back. Maybe jump the rock a little bit.
Another Georgia Tech miscue. Lucas Cox, the first man through, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Another 3rd down and long. Facing Georgia Tech, David Akini, a transfer from Northeastern, because that school dropped its football program, made the tackle. And if you're Paul Johnson here, we've seen Nesbitt throw on 3rd down and long. At this point, do you have to?
No, you don't have to. You can just run one of those pitches around the corner and let one of your speed guys have it.
But Nesbitt gonna throw. And broken up. It was intended for Stephen Hill. There were 2 Georgia Tech players in the area. And the Yellow Jackets have a decision to make here.
And that's a problem with the route when you have 2 guys in there, meaning you're bringing more defenders in there. And so there was a miscommunication on the route. You'll see Stephen Hill come across.
It looked like maybe Earls was the intended receiver.
Earls there too, and I'll tell you, it was a good throw. It's a tough catch for Smith.
Offensively, you're not supposed to have that happen.
How about this here, guys?
Yeah, 4th down, they got to go for it.
4th and 10. There's a lot of time left. 6:32. You have all your timeouts left. Nesbitt, not even close. Incomplete. Was pressured up the middle by Irving, and now you give NC State the ball at the Georgia Tech 31. It's only a 10-point game.
Yeah.
Was that the right move?
No.
No, I don't think so.
You have 3 timeouts left.
Yeah.
Punt it, play defense, call timeout. Now, if you're 3 possessions down, I get it.
This has been a weird game. I mean, there's been a lot of touchdowns. We've had 2 touchdowns scored, 1 on interception, 1 on a block punt. So you don't know what's going to happen if you punt the ball. Maybe they'll drop it.
Don't give up on the defense.
So NC State will take over at the Georgia Tech 31. We saw the Yellow Jackets throwing it around the field on the last possession. Imagine that NC State will keep it on the ground. A reversal of roles as Green to the outside. Brought down at the 29, gain of about a yard.
So a little out of character for these. A little out of character for these 2 teams.
Yeah. 2 timeouts remaining for Georgia Tech. Tom O'Brien and company trying to put away the Yellow Jackets. Back in Atlanta, Georgia, home of Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets have not lost at home to an ACC team since mid-October of 2008. They're down 10 late in the 4th, and NC State's got the ball. Green, as a Yellow Jacket helmet comes off again, gets a couple. Here's Reese.
All right, Dave, looks like Maryland's going to get out of the woods on ESPNU against Florida International. Darrell Scott going in for the Terrapins, 35-21. Danny O'Brien's had a solid day for Maryland as well. Most of you will see on ESPN, others on ABC, the Senator, Jim Tressel leading in Ohio State against Eastern Michigan. Ron English, the Eagles head coach, looking for his first victory, 0-15. Not coming today, fellas. Not coming today.
Yeah, that probably will not be a close game.
You got to play the game, Reese. You know that.
Big 3rd and 7. And out on the flat it goes to Spencer. He's got the first down. Nobody was anywhere near him. And downfield, Darrell Davis set a nice block. Move the chains.
I like that call. It's a nice, safe call for NC State. You don't want to get any chances of interceptions or fumbles. Nice job, pick up a first down. They need to either take a bunch of time off this clock or get some points out of this drive.
Well, you're going to force Georgia Tech, if you take your time, to use their timeouts. Paul Johnson already used 1. You see Mustafa Green about 8 yards deep. That's telling me run.
And it is a run straight ahead. Green trying to splatter the pile. Gets maybe a yard and a half.
I want to ask you, as a linebacker, when you see a tailback that deep, why do you think it's a run?
Well, I'll tell you, if he's lined up deep so he can get the ball downhill, and he has the ability to have room to make cuts back to back to back. And the other thing, and Bob, you know this, they're not going to, it's not going to be a run if it's a pass. Because of pass protection.
Yeah.
So you have to be up at the line of scrimmage so you can get there and get the pass protection. Or if you're getting out on a route, you can't be 8 yards deep because it takes you too long to get out on your route.
So if he's 8 yards deep behind the center and he's got to pick up a linebacker coming up the middle, he can't do it from that deep. So he's got to be up close.
That's when you start calling rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. Then if he's up tight, and film study will tell you this, if he's up tight, then you just start screaming bird, 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 which alerts your defensive lineman
a lot of animals to remember.
To get their pass rush shoes on.
Rabbit means run.
Yep. Get
and
stout.
Bird means pass.
Get skinny.
That's what these defensive guys would say.
See how smart we are?
Birds means pass. Rabbit means run.
Yeah. All right, so you weren't saying it was going to be a run because they've got a 10-point lead with 5 minutes left and it's 1st and 10.
That too, but when you're that far back in the backfield at 8 yards deep, it tells you what type of run it's going to be. Just like it is here.
Rabbit. And Green to the 5-yard line. Gain of 11. 1st and goal, NC State.
You see how deep he gets the ball, so then the whole line of scrimmage is in play of where he runs the football.
So if you're the middle linebacker right behind the defensive line and everybody else, when you see him, you're hollering out, rabbit, rabbit, rabbit.
I am, yeah. I got to help the big fellas out up front.
Yeah.
See right here, 8 yards deep in the backfield, and that gives him the chance to go this way or this way because Russell's going to get him the ball about 6 yards. You see with his shoulders square, he's cutting back, and that's another thing a linebacker can do is read his shoulders. If his shoulders are angled, he can't cut back. If they're square to the line of scrimmage, 9 times out of 10, he's cutting it back.
He's back there again. 1st and goal, they reset the ball. The clock should be moving. Maybe a malfunction here. Officials are conferring at the 12.
Please set the game clock to 4:38 and start properly on my side. 4:38.
Again, Georgia Tech with just 1 timeout remaining. To be a huge road win for Tom O'Brien, it would get NC State to 4-0. Their best start already since 2002 when they began the year 9-0 with Phillip Rivers at quarterback. Russell Wilson, the current starter, has had a great day. 368 passing yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, and 1 rushing touchdown as well. Here's Green again, off left side, powers into the end zone. Touchdown Pack. Rushing touchdown in each of his first 4 collegiate games. Mustafa Green taking it in from 5 yards out. And Chikowski with the extra point. 45-28, North Carolina State.
See those shoulders are square, Grease. There's the cutback all day.
One of the problems, one of the shortcomings of this offense for State coming back, they had a lot of receivers, had a great quarterback. They had some offensive linemen, but no running backs. Mustafa Green really looks good. It's a true freshman. As you mentioned, scored a touchdown in each of his first 4 ball games.
We mentioned earlier that everybody talks about Mallett, Locker, and Luck, but maybe people got to start talking about Russell Wilson. 3 touchdown passes, a touchdown run. That was a beautiful throw to Steve Howard. This time Jarvis Williams over the middle gets it across. And the rushing touchdown by Wilson.
And the thing I like about him is he's been around. This is his 27th start. He's a redshirt junior. He knows what's going on out there. He knows how to move people around. He's got some experienced receivers to throw to.
He's not afraid to make the difficult throw. When a guy's covered, he has the trust in his receiver that they're going to make a play.
Short kick here. McCahan across the 20. Tried to get the corner and dragged down around the 33-yard line.
The other impressive thing about State is the fact that they're on the road. They went on the road, won a ball game in a tough place to play over a good defending champion of the ACC.
Yeah, this team won 11 games, Georgia Tech, 7-1 in conference play. Granted, they lost 2 guys to the NFL as first-round picks. They lost a couple other guys to the NFL.
I mean, they come in here on the Tech's home turf and beat the defending champs.
Nesbitt to the air, has Jones wide open to midfield, gain of about 17.
And Nesbitt took another shot back there, slow to get up, but he's a tough kid. If you're going to run this offense, you're a quarterback, you better be able to handle shots, and he's taking a number today.
NC State has 2 home games their next 2 weeks, Virginia Tech and Boston College. Nesbitt's pass off the mark, intended for Tyler Melton. NC State also gets Florida State at home. They do have to go to Clemson and play their arch rival North Carolina on the road. Actually, that Wake Forest game on November 13th is home. That's in Raleigh. But 3 of their final 4 games are away from Raleigh. Nesbitt's pass knocked down by Audie Augustin. 3rd down.
Big defensive end. Zone pressure was coming from the top of the screen or the top of the field. That means Augustin's going to drop in that flat area, and did a good job of backpedaling and getting a big pulse up in the air at 6'3" with a long reach. Where number 11 is a defensive lineman, Grease. Doesn't look right, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Nesbitt's pass knocked down at the line again, this time by Brian Slay. Irving had pressure for NC State. Based on all the problems in North Carolina with the fact their forces are depleted with a lot of guys sitting out, and Miami already has a loss, and Ja'Cory Harris seems to be interception prone. Clemson played well last week but lost against Auburn. Is NC State the team to beat in the ACC after just 2 wins in conference play last year?
Well, I think they're one of them. And I think their competition is going to take notice of this Russell Wilson in this defense and the fact they can run the ball.
Nesbitt in trouble and sacked at the 45. Irving in there again along with Cole.
Definitely a big win on the road for NC State. I mean, you know, you look at your schedule, you see who you've got at home. You know, a home crowd means so much in college football. But when you go on the road, you know, if you can win some of those tough games on the road, like we're talking about with Georgia Tech being the defending champion, you go into their place and you beat them, and you beat them soundly.
That's the thing. I mean, you beat the defending champs on the road. Who can't you beat in league play? Haynes to the outside and brought down Georgia Tech with just 1 timeout remaining.
I like Miami. I really do. I think Miami, yes, they lost to Ohio State, maybe Alabama and Ohio State, and you have people that are very close to those 2 teams. But Miami's a confident team. And if you're Randy Shannon, the only thing you sell to Miami, okay, we lose to Ohio State. That doesn't matter. We have the conference. And Ja'Cory Harris can put up numbers. They have issues. Everybody has issues. But that offense looked awful good the other night against Pitt. And their defense looked pretty good when they shut down
and their special teams,
running game up Pitt.
Anytime you kick to them, whether it's a kickoff or a punt, Benjamin is a threat to run it back.
NC State and Miami in opposite divisions. They do not play each other in the regular season. Haynes pounding forward. Georgia Tech going to call its final timeout. They're 3rd down and long.
Talking about if they meet in the championship game. I mean, is there anybody in the ACC?
Again, who knows about Virginia Tech, right? They played well against Boise State. They had a bad week, short week, losing a game they shouldn't lose, but they still got a lot of good players at Virginia Tech. And if they win that game at Boston College today, that's a good sign for the Hokies going forward.
It's a long season. Everybody has a chance to come back.
Now, Wake Forest is 1-0 in conference play, but they got hammered at Stanford last week. Gave up almost 70 points. They play at Florida State today. And Florida State lost big, but a lot of people still think with Christian Ponder that the Noles are contenders. As is Clemson. Played well last week against Auburn, but lost.
You're going to see Virginia Tech and Bud Foster get that young defense. They're going to get better as the year goes on. And anytime you have Tyrod Taylor, look, the guy can play, and he's capable of putting up huge numbers.
Just what I was going to point out, the conference has a lot of good quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor, Ja'Cory Harris, Kyle Parker at Clemson. You mentioned Ponder. TJ Yates is playing well.
NC State keeping it on the ground because Georgia Tech cannot stop the clock, so they'll take this down inside of 2 minutes before they punt it as Haynes is brought down to the 43. I don't know about you guys, but I think the best quarterback in the ACC is wearing white in this game.
I'm not going to argue that point.
We're not arguing. You know, I think we know that it's at least the best in this conference. Now we're looking around the country and see, you know, who's better than Russell Wilson.
Well, after the film and after the show that he put on against Cincinnati on national TV on ESPN, being on national TV again today, people have got to stand up and notice. And the only thing, not only is great skill that you'll see, but he's putting numbers behind that skill. That's what captures everybody's attention, is the numbers that he's putting up. And he had bad numbers against UCF, who was 10 for 30.
But remember, he didn't play at all in the spring because he was playing baseball. He didn't play at all in the summer.
Right.
So I think that's what makes this even more amazing. This guy didn't play football in a year.
Well, he's got a genuine confidence about him, too.
Well, that's the thing. He's confident. You know, and like I mentioned, after he threw that interception, and it took it back down, and Georgia Tech scored to get him back in the ball game. He came right back out on the next drive and started throwing the ball around. Now, if that would have been a freshman or a redshirt freshman out there, his confidence would have been shaken, throwing a pick six, and oh, am I going to do another one? But not this kid.
They've got a pretty good backup, at least according to the NC State coaches, and Mike Glennon. They're high on him, redshirt sophomore. He's played a little bit, played in 7 games last season. So NC State called timeout to avoid the delay of game, and now the punt. Georgia Tech coming after it. There's contact with the punter, but no flag. Touchback. Georgia Tech down 17. No timeouts, ball on its 20.
I went down in the spring to visit with Tom O'Brien and Coach Archer, Dana Bible, and their staff, and watched Glennon play and watched him practice. He's going to be pretty good now. I mean, he's going to be pretty good. Now, he's totally different as far as stature goes than Russell Wilson. He goes about 6'6". But I'm telling you what, you talk about an arm, he can throw it. And the thing about this offense, if you're defensive preparing for North Carolina State, they spread the ball around. Last week against Cincinnati, 11 different receivers caught the football.
There was Mike Glennon. The last shot you saw his brother Sean played at Virginia Tech. As Georgia Tech runs the ball to Allen. A little extracurricular activity. Another helmet comes off. We've seen at least 8 or 9 times where that's happened today.
I got it marked on my sheet right here. That's 8 times. I mean, no, I mean, seriously, if we're serious about head injuries, then you can't have college football player helmets popping off.
Georgia Tech taking a lot of time off the clock. Nesbitt zips that one in there. Melton had a touchdown catch earlier in the game out to the 32 for a first down.
Why are the helmets popping off? Are the chin straps too loose, or are the helmets too loose?
Well, I assume that it's got to be chin straps, because the helmet can be fitted to where it will not pop off. Now, a lot of times there's sweat and things like that that make it a little bit loose. But the chin strap, a lot of times players might loosen those chin straps. That's got to be fitted properly, or we're going to have a serious injury problem. With 8 times a helmet pops off, that's something that needs to be addressed, I think.
Nesbitt back to throw and sack at the 25. Brought down by Nate Irving, who's had a great game. Well, in the NFL, they have the rule now where when the helmet pops off, the play is dead.
Right, immediately.
And why, if you're an offensive player, would you not have your chin strap tight, Chris?
Maybe it doesn't look good on TV. I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know that somebody should say something to get this problem fixed, just for the safety of the player, because that's what we're all about, safety first.
Here's Cox on 2nd down. And another piece of equipment went flying downfield. There's a shoot as Cox is brought down at the 40. By the way, how about Nate Irving today, guys? 4.5 tackles for a loss and a sack. 17 total hits by Irving. Yeah, that many thought wouldn't make it, wouldn't live after a horrific car accident last year, but he's back playing football and so thankful for life and thankful for a win on the road. Tom O'Brien's Wolfpack 4-0. They win it 45-28. College football scoreboard presented by Acura up next on ESPN. For Bob Greasy, Chris Spielman, our entire crew, I'm Dave Pash. So long from Atlanta. Now to Reese Davis.